Welcome aboard the AM show. Guess what? It's 43 days to go to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. My name is Benjamin Akako. Welcome on the AM show. What can you expect? Well, like you know how we do it. We're going to be serving you the news, followed by the news review in a bit. And guess who joins us? Nana Yalsapong, he's political assistant with the Alan Kwadwo Trematin campaign, and former GJA President Afe Omoni. Both of them join us for that segment. It'll be followed, especially as we're talking about the Joy Invitational Sports, or Joy Sports Invitational. Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and you know how we do it, blunt thoughts. I'll be sharing those with you today based on Galamsey, media freedoms, and that latest report. You know the one I'm talking about. If you don't, stay glued to your sets. I'll bring that to you. But there have been, when we get into our big stories, some interesting outcomes in the recent telephone polls by Global Info Analytics as Dr. Baumia makes a strong showing among first-time voters, but not enough to tilt the scales as John Dramani Mahama is still set to win with no second round expected. That's according to that survey. This morning, we'll be unpacking, taking apart the details of the weekly telephone polls by the Global Info Analytics. But then again, are you looking for a complete residential facility which offers you all the amenities you can think of, including an industrial and office complex to make commuting from work to your home convenient? Well, if your answer is yes, look no further than Apollonia City, ahead of the Ecobank Joy News Habitat Fair. We'll bring you more on them later on the show. But what is the show with us without you? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about everything we do here and the issues we're going to be discussing. Shoot in your messages. Let's know what's on your mind. If we activate the phone lines, be one of those to call. But for now, let's settle for the latest in the world of news. Welcome to the News Belt on the AM show. In our first story, NPP MPs have amended their original request to Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, calling for an emergency sitting by adding more government business they expect to transact when the House is reconvened. You will recall that on Wednesday, at least 42 of those NPP MPs appended their signatures to a memo seeking to force the hands of Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin to recall Parliament following the indefinite suspension of the House. The majority have now sent another request to the Speaker, which includes even more business. But who gets to decide what is an emergency issue in recalling Parliament? Listen to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, on this matter. And former Majority Leader Oseiche Mensah Bonsu also revealing on PM Express that Alban Bagbin disagreed with the ruling by Speaker Professor Michael Quay in 2020, and that it was strange he had taken this decision now.
I remember 2020,
yes. Professor
Okwei, at the instance of the party, writing to him to expel the Honorable
Andy
Sema. He then proceeding to say that he construed that to mean that his seat had become vacant. I, as a then majority leader, in conclave, I told him I disagreed with him.
So in 2020, you yes. privately told Professor Michael Quay
yes. And the Honorable Bagbin, the current speaker, was the second deputy speaker. That's my worry. When I said so to Professor Quay, he agreed with me that no, Professor Quay would be wrong.
So Alban Bagbin,
yes,
who was the second deputy speaker
yes.
in 2020, agreed with you
yes.
that Michael Quay was wrong to declare Andesiama's seat for Fomena vacant.
Yes. And my reason for saying that was that I did not consider a declaration of intent into the next succeeding parliament as amounting to exiting his party. I didn't. And then when the party wrote that they had expelled him from the party, or he had automatically exited the party, I also felt that that did not amount to the person resigning from the party or resigning from Parliament.
And in 2020,
yes,
Alban Bagbin took the side that you cannot vacate the seats of current MPs just because they had declared intention to contest as independent candidates.
So when I disagreed with
or been expelled for the party.
When I disagreed with Professor Okui, I buttressed my case with my argument with what had happened in 1993. And as I said, Saint Alban agreed with me. I'm referring to him.
Why Saint Alban?
Oh, I mean, oftentimes I affectionately refer to him.
And his response to you when you say that would be?
Oh, I mean, he takes it in his stride. Right.
But he fundamentally, more importantly, he agreed with you.
He agreed with me. So we left it. And that is why I wonder how come, he makes this U-turn on this.
Well, the former majority leader also says the leadership of the House has to engage and build consensus on the developments in that House.
It's important for Parliament to sit, even if not to transact any business, at least to allow for the running of the days. That, okay, because we have to satisfy this, Parliament will sit, not transact any other business, apart from ensuring that the CI would mature in good time to enable us to conduct our elections. So that is one of my greatest fear. Now, what are we doing?
How do you cure that?
How do we cure that?
Afonyo says they want to get the signatures to compel. Is that a good strategy?
My worry, and the Speaker has done it. The last time they garnered the requisite number of signatures, what happened? Whereas the Constitution provides that within 7 days after he receives it, he must summon Parliament. The Constitution does not provide when Parliament should be summoned. It says when he receives it, within 7 days he must act to summon Parliament. Right?
But he can summon Parliament on
1 month after.
December 7th or November.
1 month after.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty, which is what mischief the new standing orders sought to cure. That once he has it, he must act within 14 days. That is worst case scenario. But if it's an emergency, like let's say that
this is?
It is an emergency. Yes. What we are relating to now, it's an emergency. And you see, because of what is happening in the north, the Boundaries Commission's bill must be passed expeditiously.
What's happening in the north? Very briefly.
Oh, the threats coming from the north of the jihad.
The instability.
The instability there.
The Sahel.
We need really to have a determination of our boundaries to enable our forces to really be able to protect us. That bill is there. We haven't done it. So it's important that we attend to it.
Now, in other politically related news, the running mate of the NPP's flag bearer, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, is warning nursing and teacher trainees not to fall for what he terms sweet stories of the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. According to him, John Mahama cancelled the allowances for teacher and nursing trainees, but failed to honor the payment of the feeding grant he promised them. He says such a person cannot be trusted, and therefore the trainees must not fall for his promises of automatic recruitment after school. Addressing students of the Kolebu Nursing and Midwifery Training College in Accra, Dr. Opoku-Prempeh urged the trainees to reject the NDC to protect their allowances.
The gentleman who was the Minister for Health, who did it, was called Rojo Betel-Lulu. He said the money to go to the hospital, they diverted it to a campaign. What has hospital building got to do with nurses and teachers and law? I want you all to continue to tell NDC that we prefer the Alawa more than your sweet stories. Alawa is equal to NPP. Alawa dear, NPP dear, Bawo dear. So if, like you are telling me, if you want your allowance to continue, you have only one option. 7 December, what do you have to do? 7 December, what do you have to do? 7 December, what do you have to do? The reason is simple. The one who cancelled it for 2 years before Nana Dankwa and Dr. Baonia government appointed Mantogogo Pepe as the Minister of Education and changed and brought back the Alawa. That person says that he cancelled the Alawa because he wants to build hospitals. Have we finished building hospitals in Ghana?
In our next story, the Adan West District Security Council has banned the distribution of food and drinks at public events. This is part of several measures in response to a cholera outbreak in the Adan East and West Assemblies. According to the Ghana Health Service, at least 43 cases have been recorded, with 1 death in the last few days. First, listen to the Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedu-Bekwe, who tells Joy News that at least 12 more people are in hospital receiving treatment.
We have 43 confirmed cases, but I need to put it in the context. You see, when you have an outbreak and it's fully established and you are very clear about the kind of outbreak, you don't need to keep confirming the cases. You confirm when you have it in another place, which is different from where you have an epicenter. So this 43 is not the full picture. It's the ones that we confirm. You understand? So what happens is that assuming we have 5 sub-districts, you get one in a new one, then you go and confirm it there. So this 43 is a confirmed case. We have a number of the suspected cases, maybe about 100 more. But what is important for us is how many are in admission now. I think there are 12 of them who are in admission. And I need to state that there's a threat along the coast. East has 37, and then Adan West has 6. So these are the confirmed cases. As I said, they are other suspected cases, but as I explained for the initial stages, for us, we have established an outbreak. We are clear what we are dealing with, so we do not go on confirming unless it moves to another sub-district, which is new. They will try and ascertain what it is. I think we have gotten 1 or 2 deaths. I have to be sure, but there's 1 death that I know of. So those are the fatalities. What we are hoping to do is to minimize the number of severity of cases, those to avoid the death. And while we provide the necessary external ingredients like good water, and then they providing sanitary conditions to avoid the escalation of the outbreak.
Well, the Adan West District Security Council has also already activated some protocols, including a total ban on the distribution of food and drinks at social gatherings. Samson Tete Bankba is DCE of the area.
Those structures are that the social distance, 1 meter, should be practiced all over the district, especially at public gatherings. Talk about churches, mosques, funerals, political rallies, and all those public gatherings. We decided that at funerals, they should not share food and they shouldn't share drinks at the funeral. So after that, we
including other social gatherings as well.
Including other social gatherings.
Okay.
And then we also decided that Veronica buckets should be used at public gatherings. Talk about the schools and then the churches and those funerals. And then also communities and then homes should practice the presenting your frontage. So that we, from the meeting, we organize communal labor, especially at the areas where the menace started from. And then after the communal labor, the practice is that each and every one should go by the presenting your frontage at home, so that you make sure your place is neat. You clean up your place and then the environment that you are surrounded by. And then after that, we've also decided that they should, whatever the refuse they will get in their homes, they should burn, and what will be left over should be put in sacks, so that we have a presenting of frontage car that will be going around each and every day to collect them.
Traders and commercial drivers at the Ketia market in Kumasi have decried the spate of potholes on roads leading to the market. They allude to traffic congestion due to the poor roads, complaining that the local assembly has failed to heed their concerns. They're calling for road rehabilitation to enhance safety and accessibility in the area. Kwejo Bing-Mreko interacted with some of the traders.
The
roads are bad, but they still take money from us. The pit has been here for a year now. Traders can't occupy the spaces here. The cars can't continue their journey when they get to the stretch. The drivers are charged, but the roads are still bad.
Now, women in mining areas have been admonished to prioritize their health by seeking early detection of breast cancer and seeking early treatment. Speaking at a breast cancer screening and awareness event in the Western North region, General Manager of Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, Daniel Ejei-Mensah, highlighted the company's commitment to breaking the stigma surrounding breast cancer through education, screening, and research. He stressed that raising awareness empowers individuals to act, and their efforts aim at minimizing the risks of breast cancer by promoting early detection within the mining communities. There's more in this report.
In a bid to promote women's health and well-being, Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, in collaboration with the Women in Mining chapter, organized a free breast screening exercise for women in their catchment area. The event, held at Wasa Nkonya in the Wasa Amenfi East Municipality, aimed to raise awareness about breast cancer and encourage early detection and treatment. Community Relations Manager Emmanuel Danso, who spoke on behalf of the General Manager of Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, indicated how crucial it is for women and men to prioritize their health.
Breaking the stigma surrounding breast cancer starts with education. It is crucial that we encourage both women and men to prioritize their health. Awareness is the first step in this journey because it empowers people to act. Perseus believes in supporting research, spreading awareness, and offering hope to those affected by breast cancer. This year, we are not only talking about it, but actively doing something. The health talks and breast screening exercises we are offering today are meant to minimize the risk associated with breast cancer and promote early detection in our community.
President of Women in Mining at Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, Cecilia Amache, indicated in order to prevent breast cancer, proactive steps ought to be taken to deal with the issues when they arise.
Together, we are stronger in the fight against breast cancer. Prevention is also key. Whilst we can't prevent all cases, leading a healthier lifestyle through regular exercise, a balanced diet, and limiting alcohol consumption can reduce the risk. I encourage everyone here to share this information, support breast cancer awareness campaigns, and make sure the people around you are taking their health seriously. One conversation can change life. Together, we can create a future where breast cancer awareness saves lives and no one must face this journey without support.
A personnel at Women in Mining at Perseus Mining, Wilhelmina Tanoku, emphasized personal hygiene as one of the keys to help reduce the incidence of breast cancer.
It's all about personal hygiene. So we use our braziers about a week. Some of us do that, but it wouldn't be advisable to do so. You sweat a lot, so you would be advised that each and every time you have a change of your underwear, as in specifically the brazier, because we are referring to the breast at this moment. So you keep it clean and you keep yourself clean, and time on time you examine. We don't expect that we get it, but you do the examination yourself as we are being told to do. And then if there's anything you detect or you expect, you can report for it to be treated.
The exercise benefited over 300 women and forms part of Persas Mining Ghana Limited's corporate social responsibility initiatives.
Now, in a thrilling first-time achievement, the Osei Senior High School has stormed into the spotlight, defeating seasoned competitors Ghana Secondary Technical School and APAM Senior High School. With their eyes set on the ultimate prize, the school's unstoppable momentum has brought them to their first ever semi-final berth. Meanwhile, defending champions Presbyterian Boys Secondary School also put on a stellar show, knocking out Pope John SHS and the St. James Seminary to secure their place in the semi-final stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. My colleague Jacqueline Ansomayeboa has more.
It was a battle for the ages, with Osei Senior High School locked in a fierce face-off against the giant of GSTS and a determined APAM SHS. The two schools went head-to-head, leaving the crowd holding their breath as the scoreboard lit up round after round.
At the end of the first round, GSTS has 4 points. Osei Senior High School has 18 points. APAM Senior High School has 18 points.
With every correct answer, the tension built, leading to a dramatic final showdown.
It hasn't been easy. This is our first time qualifying to the semi-finals. We're going to win the contest. We're going to win this Science and Math Quiz. I told you.
While Osei celebrates their historic win, Presec Legon is on a mission to defend their title after brushing aside fierce competition from Pope John SHS and St. James Seminary. In a tense contest, Presec's experience showed, but they admitted that it was no easy ride.
I won't describe the contest as soft per se. From what I can see, it was a really challenging contest. All the schools put up their best, especially Pope John's. They give us a run for our money.
If you've asked for him, if you've prayed to him, if you know the kind of relationship you have with him, then you should be confident that he's going to lead us through. So I was not shaking at all. Obviously, there will be this kind of, let's see what happens. But then, through it all, we brush it off and then we know that God is going to help us.
But it's not over yet. Today, the final 3 spots in the semi-finals are up for grabs as St. Peter's Senior High School, Wesley Girls and Mawali School prepare to battle. With 6 schools already through, it's anybody's guess which of these powerhouse institutions will join them. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansomayeboa.
Well, it's time now for us to give you our business updates for the morning. Welcome to business. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has revealed that Ghana is yet to complete the total debt restructuring program. This is despite closing the chapter on the domestic and external debt, including bilateral creditors and Eurobond holders. But speaking on the IMF Today program in Washington, D.C., USA, the Minister of Finance noted that they were working to conclude the $2.7 billion owed commercial bilateral creditors.
As part of our arrangement with the IMF, we decided to restructure our debts to bring our debts to sustainable levels. We started with our domestic debt restructuring, and the sacrifices of our people ensure that we concluded that restructuring with about 95% or more participation. So it was greatly a success. We followed that with the restructuring of our bilateral debt with our bilateral creditors. That was also very successful in a negotiation between us and the Official Creditor Committee for Ghana. And this led to significant savings, debt service relief of about $2.8 billion. And then following this is our restructuring of the Eurobonds. The Eurobonds, about $13 billion. That was concluded in the first week of this month. Another great success because we saw over 98% participation in the debt exchange. The benefits we have derived from this so far includes an outright debt cancellation of about $5 billion. and another debt service relief of about $4.3 billion. And so between the bilateral creditors and the Eurobonds, you are talking about savings of about 12 billion US dollars. So we think this is a very great success. We are still having an outstanding restructuring with our commercial creditors involving about $2.7 billion. We are working very hard to conclude that. So far, I can say that we have been pretty successful at our restructuring. The participation has been great, and we see ourselves moving on the path to debt sustainability. Why we succeeded, which other countries need to take into consideration in their restructuring, is number one, what we call fair burden sharing, because we had to do domestic debt exchange, which you haven't seen many countries do. We had to do that first to demonstrate our ability and our capacity to sacrifice the sacrifice of our people in biting part of the bullet before we went out to do the external debt restructuring. And so because of that, the bilateral creditors as well as our Eurobond holders saw Ghana's seriousness and readiness to change.
The Ministry of Works and Housing is pushing for the use of local raw materials for the construction of infrastructural projects and buildings across the country. Deputy Minister Dr. Prince Hamid Ahmad said this was the key to reducing the climate impact on the building and construction industry. Speaking at the launch of a roadmap to decarbonize Ghana's construction and building sector, he reaffirmed government's commitment in addressing the housing challenges.
This sector accounts for over a third of global energy. That's about 37% of global energy related carbon emissions. It is also responsible for 40% of global energy consumption, 30% of raw material extraction, 12% of global water consumption, and 20% of waste generation. These statistics highlight the urgent need for us to mitigate the environmental impact of the construction industry. The roadmap we present today outlines strategic actions aimed at minimizing the environmental footprint,
Let's settle now for our currency updates for today. Well, that's it for our news bell this morning on the AM show. You do want to stay for the next segment, the news review. We'll be right back. Well, thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the news review and my guests joining me this morning. Nanaya Osapong, political assistant to the Alan Kwadwo Trematin campaign, and Afe Omone, former president of the Ghana Journalists Association. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
You're looking lovely in your blue outfit. I suspect it may be from our usual...
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then some beautiful butter curry. You are living well, oh. You are living well.
Grace and mercy.
Grace and mercy, oh.
Follow us.
Well, I might as well give shouts to Mudasiru of Siru Africa, who also does fantastic work with my outfits every Friday. Siru, thank you so much. If you'd like to, as my director will say, Ayakama, he told me that this morning. My wonderful director, Yao For Sin, yes. And if you'd like to get outfits such as this, you might as well reach out to Mudasiru on 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. On social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at SIRU-Africa. SIRU-Africa. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. But from the fashion houses or from fashion-related matters, let's come into the studio. Quick thoughts on burning issues on your chest, on your mind, on your hearts. I'll start with you, Afil Moni.
Let me join the chorus of condemnations against the absolutely heinous and utterly hideous attacks on Erastus Dankwa and urge the authorities to pursue the matter with urgent promptitude. It is clear, and the point can hardly be articulated, that journalism is risk-prone and not cash-rich profession, unlike politics, where my brother plies his trade. But our proneness to risks does not give anybody any license to attack our men and women. We are confronted with a situation as a nation where organized labor is so disorganized to the extent that it cannot lend its fullest weight to the fight against Galamsey. UTAG has also dropped its tag as the Lone Ranger on the labor front as far as Galamsey is concerned. So the mantle falls squarely on the media to pursue this fight with all ferocity and tenacity. But the risk factors are such that if you don't have the fearless streak, like our colleagues in multimedia, and Ben is a living example, you will chicken out. So we are urging again the authorities to go all out to deal surgically with the perpetrators of the attacks against Erastus and his team, to send a signal that ours is a country governed by the rule of law. And in such a country, anyone who willfully finds himself on the wrong side of the law should be made to taste the biting edge of the law. So this is my take.
Thank you for your take this morning. I'll come to you, Nanayao. And the point being that, for me, one of my greatest disappointments, apart from what I will say, the little that the police has done on this matter, right? These, let's face it, when they said they were taking them to a certain village and didn't, and went somewhere into the bush, anything could have happened.
Anything could have happened.
These were armed men with guns, pump-action guns that even our security forces don't wield. Anything could have happened. And when I say anything, I'm sure you understand.
They had a brush with death.
What I mean.
Let's use the words. They could have
had
been killed.
a brush, like you said, with death.
Yeah.
And looking at these Galamsey pits and all of that, people could have been dumped somewhere,
them in, and would have been it.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
Mekwabo, and that would have been the end. Where did they go and all of this? And the impunity, my point. One person in there, and you see, it talks about how some people feel they are primus inter pares, above everybody else. First among equals. You bet me a party in the Warsaw. I wish that gentleman hadn't said that. Though we know certain things. I wish he hadn't said it. But for him to have said it, I don't know. Correct me.
That is a level of arrogance.
And for no response, no statement, nothing. If you've seen something from the presidency, please correct me. Have you? On this matter?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And for that profound silence on the matter, as though nothing had happened. For crying out loud, Erastus is a former journalist of the year. Just this year, he won the environmental journalist.
He could have won again as the journalist of the year.
He could have, again.
Yeah.
And so in the end, sometimes you understand when people say, you know, this country, in its current state, with its current, misleadership, if you like, it's not worth dying for, doing anything for. Because in the end,
that's what I was saying. That's the level of arrogance of power. That is where we have gotten to. I mean, as you're saying, no statement has come out. Probably they would say that he's still investigating to know whether or not.
I'm not talking about, yes, the police is a part of the executive arm of government. But I'm saying if someone says something like this, and you see, if you are concerned about Ghana's ratings,
that is where
Reporters Without Borders,
that is where I am coming to. But for the image of the country, for the image of our democracy, all right, but for the image of where we are in Africa, I think that immediately something should have been said. A statement, at least, of denial.
Yeah.
All right?
Or disassociation.
Or disassociation should have been issued to this effect.
We don't stand for this. That person who spoke, whatever.
Sure.
You just stay mute.
It boils down to leadership, as you had stated. I believe that leadership should be in charge. We should know who is in charge and should know who should be held responsible for some of these actions. The Galamsey issue is not an ordinary issue. We are waging war against Galamsey. And anybody who raises his voice or puts up an action against Galamsey is a target. Simplicity.
I have been targeted.
And so such persons who have decided to take up the fight of Galamsey to the dean of the Galamseyers should be protected.
He needs the tightest.
These persons need
protected cover. Tightest protected cover.
See, people are going to lose money as against protecting the dignity, the sanctity, and our natural resources and life of our future. And I use every word is pregnant with meaning. What they are doing is destroying our lives. Now, you would wake up in 10 years, 20 years to come, and all the children within these Galamsey communities would have one health issue or the other.
Now, even teachers are getting affected.
No, of course, it will get to a point.
In those
if you would post me as a medical doctor or as a nurse or as a teacher to these communities, I wouldn't go. You pay me 10,000 cedis a month, presumably. And I would have to use 80...
No, it's nothing in that region, but he's using a hypothetical.
Okay. And I would have to use 8,000 of this amount to buy water, all right, to change my wardrobe every month, because this water they use to wash their clothes destroy these clothes within a matter of time. So at the end of the month, I would have to go to the shop to get clothes. I have to go to the shop to buy food. I have to go to the shop to buy water. Everything I would have to buy out. You cannot even use the water in these communities to bath. And there are some of the communities that are very close by to Accra. Recently, I think around the wager, you showed a footage of a teacher very close to wager, and it's as if it's a joke. But this is not. And so these persons who have put up themselves to wage a war against these galamseyers are targets, and I think they need some level of protection. But having said that, the other aspect I would also want to look at, I mean, we would go into it, has to do with the level of road accidents that we are actually having. The numbers are indeed increasing.
Frightening.
It's frightening, Ben. It's so frightening. And I think that the road safety people and the Ghana Police Service and the fire services should be up and doing.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Let's quickly get into the newspapers now, make the most of the time we have. I'll start with you, Afil Boni. Let's look at your papers.
Ghanaian publisher and the lead story is Akufo-Addo to commission largest northern gold mine in November, and they are quoting the Lands Minister Abu Jinapo. Senate will work to strengthen the scheme further, attributed to Director General Kofi Bosompim Safo-Mafo. DDEP saved Ghana about $12 billion, according to the Finance Minister, and Paramount Chief of Aveno applauds NPP, that's the Ghanaian publisher. The Daily Searchlight votes, I know this will please my brother, votes for Alan to end leadership crisis in Ghana, according to Boniface. Baka Vomawo faces new charge, 4 others discharged. Keta chiefs express confidence in Baumia's bold policies for Ghana. And Nestle Roach Cancer Care Program launched in Accra. That is the Searchlight.
Any bits you'd like to look at very quickly? Any particular one or two? If you know the stories, you also don't have to get into it.
It's reassuring that Senate is assuring pensioners that the scheme will survive all the turbulences and all the pestilences predicted. According to experts, the whole scheme will collapse in some years to come, the next 10 years or so. But Senate is hopeful that the scheme will outlast the time frame predicted for its collapse. And organized labor, if they are still organized, should keep their eyes on what is happening in Senate to ensure that workers' money is used for the purpose for which they are deducted. It's good news that a new mining firm is on board, and it will start producing gold in November. We are the highest producer of gold, but the flip side is also frightening. The threat of ecocide, the unbridled environmental plunder, and wanton destruction of water bodies, and given the fact that political will to halt the self-destruction is so conspicuous by its absence. And we're expecting organized labor to shake the system, to prompt officialdom to act in response to the magnitude of the threat which still assassination. But unfortunately, they have chickened out, and their front is divided. So let's wish and pray that they will come back and re-strategize and see how best to confront this issue, which threatens to sentence all Ghanaians to premature death.
Thank you for those. Would you like to get into one of your papers?
Yes, I just want to have a bite
right.
on the issue of SNIT. And I think that, as he's mentioned, labor unions should have their eyes opened.
Who says their eyes are closed? Some say their eyes are very open to opportunity.
If you did follow the hotel saga, you will notice that at a point they did slumber. All right, and mostly when you are actively working, okay, you might not think about tomorrow when you are home and ideal because of what comes to you. But then if you are not retiring on your salary, and you would have to take the 1/3 at the end of the month, and you have other responsibilities after the age of 60, you would understand the need why SNIT ought to be able to have a very good investment engineering strategy to be able to hold on and give you some money as you are home. If you go to some of these communities where most retirees are, the conditions in which they find themselves, and I think that SNIT ought to be able to do better. Even with this housing deficit that we have, you will notice that what kills us faster when we are on retirement has to do with the amount of money we pay as rent.
Right.
All right, so SNIT should be looking at that and other investment opportunities that could grow the organization. Now, I also want to touch on the mining industry. I believe that having these large-scale mining companies come to Ghana to operate, it's very important because they come in with technology that would at least preserve our natural state. But then we should also be looking at the local content. How much local content do we have in? And are we able to also discuss further to be able to at least engineer properly that our the royalties and other benefits that are supposed to come to government and the communities that these mining companies find themselves indeed go. All right. Most of these mining companies do not perform so well when it comes to corporate social responsibilities. You will notice that they get so much from these communities, but give very little back to these communities. Most of these large companies, when you go to,
they give chicken change out, and they claim they are doing something.
To me, if you are not even giving the fiscal cash to government because of how government operates, I think that the company should be able to take these projects by themselves. The roads in these communities are so poor and so bad. The housing in these communities are so bad. You will notice that they have very poor infrastructure. You go to some of these communities and you'll be surprised that even internet accessibility is a problem. Meanwhile, you go into the mining companies where they operate and where they live, and everything is so much very well. And 2 steps away from their wall, everything is so bad.
Right.
So we need to be able to take that up as it is. Right. All right, so I have daily guide.
So you have to
I forgot.
Try and speed up.
Alan. Yes, yes. Didn't you are reacting
didn't
so
you
much.
see that? You need to get into your papers.
But did you
as well.
see that?
So very quickly,
vote for Alan
on that point.
to end leadership crisis in Ghana. Then I think that some of these headlines, when they come, most of you who have studied and have actually followed politics for a very long time in our country have all come to a conclusion that the problems we find in Ghana today is leadership. And Alan Chomantin has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he is able to manage the little corner he was given, and for that matter, would be able to handle the country when given.
Let me just I don't want to say correct, but Ghana's problem doesn't just have to do with leadership. It has to do with followership as well.
No.
Because
leadership will go together. Yeah.
Because you have people following misleaders, either for their stomachs or because they are oblivious. Well, they choose to be oblivious to the happenings in the system. I go back to those people who vote a certain way, regardless of what is happening. No matter what, they see nothing. All they see is me, I am NPP. Me, I am NDC. Or for some other party. So it's not just about leadership. If you look at, I always go back to Lee Kuan Yew and the others, they had to create a mindset and the people had to go along. If the people did not go along, they would still be where they were. So let's not always say that it is a major leadership matter, but if the people themselves, there's no paradigm shift, nothing happens.
The leadership has demonstrated. When the leadership has demonstrated a high level of integrity and political will.
That I agree with. I agree with that.
Push an agenda. It will be done. Now, I'll give you an example. This is not so good for my own image. You know, the last 2 times I came, you were like, hey, why are you late? You said it here. That was leadership. Because you are the host. I delayed your show. Now you told me point blank the next time I'm late, the show would go on without me. Today I was early. And you said you buy me tea. And of course. So that is leadership. When you have been able to demonstrate a high level of integrity. And I tell you, Alan has been minister in Kufuor's era. Alan has been minister in Akufo-Addo's era. Alan has held positions in AU and in UN. And till today, nobody is able to point one single dent of corruption or incompetence to his personality. Anytime the name of Alan is mentioned, we are talking about competence, we are talking about seriousness, we are talking about a vision. And that's personality. And personality.
And the great transformation.
And the great transformation.
Okay, so you let's,
all right. So
let's get into
Daily Guide says that this one I didn't want to do this. Kaswa teen killer jailed for life.
Yeah.
And this one is very interesting. I'm interested in the next one I'm going to read. It says police grab Mamu gun suspect. In this, and the other one says COSI empowers 150 Adenta youth. That's
my constituency politics.
That's your constituency.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing well. She's a fine brain. And 4 more protesters freed. And I think I saw one other one that I wanted to mention here. Oh, where is it? Okay, so suicide no longer criminal.
Yeah.
There's something that is
that's good news.
That is so much of a good news.
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because people who actually attempt suicide.
Who are driven to the point of taking their own
are
life.
persons who have.
Well, we should put it in proper context. If the person has committed suicide, there is no. I mean, the person is gone. Attempted suicide. So the attempt at taking your life.
Yes.
Is no longer. That
Yes,
means
I mean, of course, they attempted suicide. Yeah, I get you now. So, yes, because these are persons who are going through a lot in life. Frustration, stress, emotional trauma. And when the person has attempted to take his or her own life, and you have the opportunity to save that person, and then you take the person,
compound the person,
rehabilitate.
I mean, and you know, we have proposed in our great transformational plan that we would be bringing into all district and hospitals and regional hospitals the mental health clinical activities. Of course, we ought to be able to have that running in all hospitals.
I mean, mental health, as a country, we have failed woefully in dealing with mental health issues, because if you go to many places, sometimes, there are times where I don't want to mention, but you go to a certain place, you look at somebody, no one seems to notice, but you talk to the person, and the person asks you, how did you know? People are going through a whole lot. Sometimes it just takes observing someone for a little bit of time and you realize something is
wrong.
Now, there are so many of such anachronistic laws on our subject books.
Of course.
It is time to feed them out.
And by the way, when I say something is wrong, I'm not saying no, that's not what you don't hear sometimes. But you can tell something is eating this person up, or the person is not in his element, in his best state. And that's the thing. You want to keep people, whether at work or wherever they are studying, at a certain point of equilibrium, right? So that there's mental balance, health balance. But yes, we take these things for granted. And there are high stress jobs like ours that require that you else...
No, you have to be there every moment. Your mind, your brain is working.
Exactly.
You know, and the money is not coming.
This table you are shaking, I'm not going to follow you.
You know, but in some instances, some journalists, you know, swim in wealth. Some ride swanky cars.
Lifestyle audit.
Some live in palatial homes.
Yeah, lifestyle audit.
You're right.
Yes.
Lifestyle audit.
Right.
Lifestyle audit.
I mean,
we'll be bringing that on.
These things ought to be done generally. Because in other jurisdictions, if all of a sudden you are driving a certain type of car, before you know
you'll
it,
be questioned.
The tax agencies...
No, you'll be questioned.
The IRS and others are at your doorstep. How did you acquire this and where? And here you can move from zero to hero without...
Need to be compensated adequately.
I agree with you.
Of course.
Because of endless working hours.
But before we go into those stories, linked to the 10-year-old who was, I believe, killed and the sentencing, this one, maybe you might want to do it briefly. Stepdaughter
in Bia district. And I'll just take the first two paragraphs. A 44-year-old man whose name was given as Kwame Dagati has allegedly killed his 20-year-old stepdaughter, Mary. Stepfather purportedly committed the alleged crime last Tuesday in his farm at Sefi, Kankankrum, near Yamitra, in the Bia West district of the Western North region. This is sad. And I've just seen the lady's photo. So sad.
So interestingly, let me just, a resident,
Isaac Oduro, explained that the mother of the deceased asked her daughter to send food to her stepfather at the farm. He said after several hours, the daughter did not return, and when the stepfather was called, he indicated that he had given the daughter some work to do at the farm. However, the way and manner Kwame Dagati answered the question made the woman become suspicious. The woman then asked her son to go to the farm to confirm whether her sister had indeed been given a job to do on the farm, as he added. The resident Isaac Oduro narrated that upon reaching the farm, the deceased brother saw some blood around and later saw his sister killed and covered with leaves at the corner of the farm.
Okay,
but Kwame Dagati was not around.
We can leave it there. But this is
sad
for a human being to do that. Very quickly on this, so I can come in briefly.
Yes. So the one I would want to add to the mental health is in the news center. The herbal medicine sector targets $5 billion revenue to take over cocoa. And I would want to add my own words and to take over Galamsey. And
Professor Duncan's
revelation. And I think when Alan was trade minister, he had an encounter with Professor Duncan. Alan had always been interested in this herbal medicine.
Needs all the push
and so
actualize his vision. Yeah.
After several encounters and discussions with them, when we were discussing the aspect of ministerial sectors that ought to be given a certain level of concentration, Alan suggested that there should be a Minister of State for Traditional Medicine and Mental Health, so that we would have a conscious and political will to deal with the matter. There's so much money in herbal medicine. But when there is not that conscious effort
and regulation.
Yes, of course. When there is a ministerial sector in charge, and we have a whole structure that is supposed to be in charge of herbal medicine, there will be enough policy, regulatory policies that can be drafted, bringing on board all of these small herbal medicine. Of course, if you go to KNUST, now they're studying traditional medicine. But how are we synchronizing it into our orthodox system? You understand? And there's so much money in this sector that is going waste. And not only the money, but when we are able to push it, we would also be preserving these forest areas for God, man, and country.
Well, indeed.
Also be saving money from importation of...
Importation.
Yeah.
Importations, because, you see, and we will be exporting, because all of these orthodox medicines are made partly from the herbs, the leaves, the roots, and all of these plants that we have in our system. And I think that we have to be able to look at it.
All right.
Then the police grabbing the gun,
very quickly.
the gun in the Mambobi issue is excellent. We are in the political season, and we ought to be careful. And the police would have to be up and doing.
All right.
It shouldn't have happened anyway. But this political violence then ought to be dealt with.
The Daily Graphic newspaper prioritized development plan over manifestos. Economists to parties. Ayoko Botre vies for Commonwealth Secretary General position tomorrow. Test before treating malaria. Professor Ansa Kram advises public. Of course, if you are not testing and you are just taking medication, you could harm yourself. And that's the bottom line there. Yoko boss, others honored for distinguished service. And Kaswa ritual murder, 18-year-old jailed for life. And COP Mameya Tiwa Adodankwa, of course. Yoko boss, others honored for distinguished service. Let me just take you briefly. I have very limited time. And an expert in malaria research, Professor Kwejo Ansa Kram, has advised people to test for malaria before treatment. He said that although the current national policy on malaria indicated that the person should test before treatment, some people were treating the disease without testing. He described such a practice as not good for the nation's malaria eradication effort. And the expert, who is a former director of the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, gave the advice at the 4th lecture of MMIMR, which forms part of the Institute's 45th anniversary celebrations. And he says, in fact, it's test, treat, and track. So after treatment, we also check whether we have been able to clear the parasite. And if the parasite is not gone, why is it not gone? Of course, there are also the other health implications I spoke of. But two economists have called for the prioritization of a national development plan over political party manifestos, indicating that this is the right path to a coordinated development. They consequently bemoaned the increasing resort to political party manifestos as the blueprint for governing the country. A professor of economics, Professor Peter Quarty, and an economics researcher, Dr. Said Boache, agreed that the lack of a long-term development plan to guide national development via the political parties' policies and programs is a drawback. And on the back page, SDA Church embarks on 200-bed hospital project at Ho Hopedo, and women advised to prioritize their health to safeguard their lives and businesses. I'll wrap with this story. Women, particularly traders, have been advised to prioritize their health to ensure they are healthy to grow their businesses. Also, regardless of their busy schedule, they should pay attention to their family, and it was important for them to undergo regular screenings and self-examination of their breasts to maintain their health and also get the required help. It's a story we did this morning as well. Any quick reflections on any of these stories? There's one last thing I want to bring up for us to talk about, but any quick reactions? 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay. Kaswa Meda trial and the lessons they offer to organize. I believe, especially as media practitioners, we ought to drink a fountain of lessons from what happened and weigh the implications of what we put out there.
Right.
About the hypodermic theory or magic bullet theory of the press indicates that what you put out there has direct, immediate, and long-term effect on media consumers.
Okay.
So we should be very careful what to put out there.
Briefly.
Yeah, so I will touch on the prioritized development plan over manifestos. I think Prof. Peter and Dr. Said couldn't have put it any better. And this is something that Alan Tremontin saw way back. And
I like the Alan angle.
And said that, listen, we have been using manifestos for the past 32 years and it doesn't take Ghana anywhere. That was why he brought the Great Transformational Plan. And as you know, a plan would always come with implementation strategies. These manifestos do not have implementation strategies.
Right.
And it affects.
And that's why promises are made without
without
other bits that will actualize them. And then people come, they are not able to do them.
But when it's a plan, it has all of it.
I just want us to take a quick swipe at this before I salute Siru for my shirt one more time. I saw this making the trends yesterday. I was hoping it was not true, but the person's phone number is here actually, and my good friend Ben Doche Malo also shared it. It says, 1-bedroom apartment for rent, no agent. If you are unever, please don't call. And the person's number is there. I hear the person has got a number of calls from some people and messages. But you see, it appears some people are still living in the Stone Age under some rocks because ethnocentrism, tribalism is. I just wanted your quick take on that. 20 seconds.
When I
saw this and I was
when I saw it, I laughed because I have actually witnessed that one which had to do with singles. You know, when we were in school, the woman who actually owned the place did not want to give it to a student, a female student, or a single woman, and because
that too is there.
She said she was a married woman and had a husband in the house, you know. But I mean, this, as you said, Stone Age. We've gone way beyond that. We now have, because of the boarding house system that was introduced, we have friends who are Evers. I schooled in the north. I did, you know, Tamasco. You know, we're those that actually kicked Adisadel College out.
Hey.
Yeah. Tamale Secondary School. Have you been there before?
The Lions of Tamale.
The Lions of Tamale.
This indicates that ethnocentrism is still a problem, and we need to confront this issue. I believe it's a process and not a destination. So we ought to be conscious of the fact that, you know, we all come from different areas, but the common thread that runs through us is that we are all Ghanaians.
Right.
We should pull in one direction.
Time to go. Well, just let me salute one more time Mudasiru of Siru Africa for this lovely outfit. Where you can call him on 0557 029
you know the
138. 0557 029 138. Nana Yaosapa is trying to distract me. And on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Siru Africa. That is SIRU-Africa.
And Ben, but it looks like a cocoa bean. Like, you know, the design is beautiful.
Thank you.
And then as he's always dressing you up, he should know that we say good morning to him.
Indeed.
And today is my grandson's
he would understand.
Papa Phil morning in Canada, Toronto.
Okay.
So happy birthday, Papa Phil, and the daddy gave it, and the mother in Shira.
Yeah, but just a quick one. We've started Alan is starting the caravan tour in Bunu East region today. And so we are done with Ashanti region. We are hitting Bunu.
Ashanti was fantastic.
Excellent. We painted the entire of Ashanti region yellow on Saturday. And
anyway, gentlemen,
the God of Alan is speaking.
Ayo. Time now to go. Thank you very much for staying with us. But you want to stay for sports up next.
You see, most of the organizations have engaged. Some have said they've gone to hire Pep Guardiola, others are hiring Kwesi Appiah, some are hiring Otto Addo, some are hiring Hans Flick. Whose coach are you hiring?
I'll leave it with the coach.
Hey, Coach Mourinho. Are you Jose Mourinho or you are Sir Alex Ferguson?
No, me, I'm Bright Mourinho.
That's a good one. That was a very good one. What sort of sessions have you been taking your team through?
A lot. And in fact, the big teams should prepare because we are going to shock them.
There's no big team.
Shock them. Those who think they have participated in this event for a long time and they are big shot, we've heard of them. And we are going to, hands down. Hands down. Hands down. Hands down. It's, you know, there's a saying that Adrobi anchor them. Hands down. Hands down. Because the original Cosa Bright is coming. So hands down. All companies, hands down. Yes, sir. Yes.
Your coach, he confirmed me.
I told you. Right? Yeah. I said it. So, coming Saturday, like I said, agro-uniform. Yes, at the end of the day, what we have said here, whether we lied or it was the truth we said, Saturday.
It is Joy Sports Invitational happening at University of Ghana Sports today, and you cannot afford to miss that. You would have to be there to see what Cosa Bright is coming with, because they are there to brighten everywhere and come back here with 4 trophies. As to whether what they are saying is a reality or not, until you see them, you will not have an idea about what they can do. They don't just only brighten your environment in partnership with ECG, but they are there to brighten the University of Ghana Sports Stadium and give you and I something to cheer about. Cosa Bright! CB! CB! Calm down. Who are we?
Only basic.
Who are we?
Only basic.
In fact, Joy Sports Invitational is going to be something else. I heard them singing, come and see what the Lord has done. The Lord has established one of the biggest brands in this country, and that is Omni Basic Bank. Their energy is absolutely incredible. And they are coming to the Joy Sports Invitational with a lot to sweep away all the trophies. May I have your head of corporate affairs here? I saw the energy from your team, and what's that special thing that you're doing with them that gave them this energy?
As you can see, Omni Basic Bank, we are always focused, and then we are in this business to win everything that we do. So we are poised coming to the Joy FM tournament to win every game that we are playing in. So you can see the enthusiasm and then the spirit with which we are, the energy and everything that we are pushing this brand. Currently, you can see Omni Basic everywhere in this country. And then we are poised to making sure that we are winning everything that we are doing. So when we come to the games, come Saturday, trust us, our team, our players, we are competing in every game. And we are walking away with almost all the medals and the trophies and everything we are putting on board. That is what we are saying.
In fact, when I went to Labade Beach, the MD told me that he's brought Pep Guardiola to town. When I went to Adansi Travels, they also claim they have Pep Guardiola. In fact, NRC said that they've been training with Barcelona. Hansi Flick is their head coach. Who is your coach?
Oh, we will not disclose our tricks and everything publicly. We are keeping everything to our chest. We say in Chi that agroniform. So when we get to the field, we definitely deliver. And that's what we're going to do. We will not tell the whole country who is coaching us. Our focus is that we put our things together. When we come to the pitch on Saturday, the whole country will see us. And then we'll see. We will not brag, but then we have our game on our chest. And then we will deliver.
Are you winning the football? Yeah! Are you winning the swimming?
Yes!
Hey.
Wanna beba yesro, wanna beba wanna beba yesro, wanna beba yesro, Magdan beba, Biba beba, Obia beba, wanna beba yesro, wanna beba yesro, wanna beba yesro,
wanna beba yesro.
Viva beba, Obia beba, Kotoko for prekra mumbra yesro, Shayen, Susu Shayen, we ni bebo, Susu Shayen, we ni bebo.
There's one special thing that they are interested in. They don't just want to produce the pure products, but it is meant to serve a certain purpose. What is that purpose? So who are we?
Natural health, producers of 3P garlic mixture. Your health, our wealth.
Health is quite crucial, and your health is your wealth. It's quite incredible. Sometimes you take a look at the taglines and you go like, who created this? I'm sure the person who created it, he needs increment in his salary. You have to increase his salary because he really aimed at people and go like, if I target your health, it is money for you. So you'll be wealthy if you are healthy. So let me just have a conversation with you pretty quick. I want to understand how preparations has been ahead of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament.
Okay, thank you. We are prepared 100% fully, and no other group will be able to beat us. 100%, we are sure that, yes, all the trophies, we will get it. We are coming for nothing but the first.
One of them was telling me that they are lifting all the trophies. I don't know. Which trophy will your CEO be winning?
The CEO penalty shoot is going to, marvel everybody there, and everything is going to be on point. 100%.
Who has been training him?
Oh, he has a private coach, but I can't disclose that name now, so that other people will take him.
Hey, I've been looking at this structure, and their tagline, which is accuracy is the key, clearly defines why they are one of the best construction companies when you need winning in town. They are incredible. SNS. What a team you've got here. An incredible job they are doing. And I'm sure they're going to translate that incredible job they are doing onto the pitch. It's okay. It's okay. Now I am begging. I say it is okay. Wow. Hey. Wow. What a team. What a team that you've got here. Hey, I'm completely blown apart. I'm blown apart. Please join me. What did you give to your team?
I think I don't need to talk much. You can see how hit up we are for the Joy Sports program coming up, and we've been training for this, and we are sending a message to our opponent, Piva, and all the other companies that are coming, that we are coming with full vim and vigor. Challenge.
No, in fact, you are scaring the opponents. You are scaring them more.
Of course, because I mean we've been this game and it's been on our timeline for some time now. So we want to come there to make a statement for the world to know that we are SNS.
Yeah. Wow. I had a certain word at the back there. Stupendous. Wow. Because, in fact, they are on top of their job, and there shouldn't be any home for you to visit if you need construction job to be done for you. SNS is that company. Accuracy is the key. Without accuracy, you will never be successful in what you want to do. And SNS says that accuracy is the key. So get in touch with SNS for all your construction works, and everything you will need will be delivered with perfection. Joy Sports Invitational happening at University of Ghana Sports Stadium. And
welcome back. This is the AM show. Let me tell you a bit about the Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit. You know the children need extra care, built with your children in mind. And guess what? They have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yawasafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. They're offering general medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, on offer is a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays and scans, and a whole lot more. To boot, they have a 24-hour pharmacy that ensures you will always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. They're bringing to you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. And they take pride in holding themselves to the highest attainable standards. So, they also want you to know that if you're thinking of payment, they accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. That is why you should be looking for them. And here's where you can locate Medicas Hospital at number 10 Kinso Street near Ashalebotwe School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340 or on social media at Medicas GH. That is Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Now, let me also tell you about, yes, you know what, Habitat Fair. Are you looking for a complete residential facility which offers you all the amenities you can think of, including an industrial and office complex to make commuting from work to your home convenient? Well, if you answered yes to that, then look no further than Apollonia City. Ahead of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, we bring you more on AM Business today.
Hi, welcome to Apollonia City. My name is Yao Ichampo Ej. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Apollonia City. It's an absolute delight to show you around. We are currently here at the Muse, one of our gated communities, offering beautifully crafted 4-bedroom houses over 165 square meters of space. Now, why don't you come with me? Let me show you around. Let's go. Here is the real deal. We are here at the Muse. This is the living area where typically after a hard day's work, you would expect that the family would stay, relax, have a good time, watch some TV and catch up on how good the day has been. Now, at the Muse here in Apollonia City, we put up these wonderful buildings all the way to the shell so that we are able to deliver a fully completed unit upon request in under 3 months. Nothing beats that, right? And here we have the dining area. As they say, meal times should be the best. And we ensure that you can have a good time here with your family. Now, we understand that there are varied needs. Different clients have different varied needs. And so we are able to accommodate all that. Some people would want an open kitchen, in which case we are able to knock down this wall that separates the kitchen from the living area, giving you one large space, maybe put an island there and have an open sized kitchen. We are able to accommodate that. Now, why don't we check out the kitchen? We are here at the kitchen. And as you know, the average modern kitchen can't do without electricity. Here at Apollonia City, with our own 33 kVA substation, which has 6 feeder lines, 2 from Mobile at Great Coal, 2 from the Adenta primary supply point, and 2 from the Dodowa primary supply point. We ensure that our residents have consistent supply of power all year round. And when it comes to water, we have our own dedicated untapped water line from the Bong booster station, ensuring that water flows all the time. So let's check out the bedrooms. Now, the Muse has 3 bedrooms up and an external outhouse, which will be the 4th bedroom down there. Let's climb up. So now this brings us to the bedroom area where we have 3 bedrooms on this floor. Now, this is the master bedroom. And then we have 2 bedrooms here for the children, all en suite. Now, we have a 4th bedroom down there, which you can serve as an outhouse, also en suite here at the Muse at Apollonia City. Muse is one of 3 main gated communities within Apollonia City. We have the Oxford, we have the Muse, and we have Bijou Homes. Why don't we check out the rest as well?
Tell me about the Apollonia project.
Okay, so Apollonia City is a 2,325 acre mixed use, fully serviced, master planned, and controlled development by a company called Rendeva, who happen to be Africa's largest urban developers with over 30,000 acres of prime development across 5 countries. Now, I jokingly like to say that next to landing men on the moon, the next most daring endeavor is what Rendeva is trying to undertake, building 7 cities from the ground up in 5 African countries, in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, what we're doing is building what we call a live, work, play community, which means that within the same space, we made provision for residential, for commercial and light industrial, and recreational spaces. Starting with residential, we're currently here at the Oxford. Now, the Oxford is one of 3 gated communities, fully built out gated communities here at Apollonia City. We have the Oxford, we have the Muse, and we have Bijou Homes. Bijou Homes is a 120 unit affordable housing that we built together with Ghana Home Loans Here at the Oxford, we have 75 housing units made up of 2-bedroom, fully semi-detached, 2-bedroom detached, and 3-bedroom homes. Now, we spoke about live, work. Now, for work, we have Adumwa Place, our first commercial building over there, with offering 2,000 square meters of prime grade A office space for any companies out there that's looking for space to fit and set out. We have a 200-acre light industrial park for manufacturing companies that want to set out, who want to go into warehousing. Now, when it comes to recreational play, here we have our playground right here at the Oxford, where the children, after a hard day's work at school, can just come and have fun. For us, live, work, play is our definition of a complete life.
Now, tell me about your service plot.
Great. So, at Apollonia City, we do not just offer fully built out homes. We also offer lands for people who want to build to their own specifications. Now, we have two types. We have fully serviced lands and semi-serviced lands. Our fully serviced lands is in an enclave that we refer to as Nova Ridge. The ideal Nova Ridge plot comes with access to water and electricity delivered plug and play to your plot. We're talking about fiber optic cables. We're talking about 24-hour security, solar-powered street lights, the whole shebang, tarred roads delivered to your doorstep. That's the services that come with Nova Ridge plots, our definition of a fully serviced plot. Then we also have our semi-serviced plots that come in an enclave we called Walla Park. Walla, as we know, is the Ghana word for life. So Walla Park is actually the park of life. Walla Park is a beautiful, serene enclave where we offer services to the entrance of the community. So we're bringing water, electricity to the entrance of the community, and then the respective property owners can tap from there onto their respective plots. So really, regardless of whatever your needs are, Apollonia City has a product for you.
How long have you been with the Habitat Fair, and what's in it for you?
So this will be our 4th year at the Habitat Fair. I mean, I was there last year. It was amazing. For me, it's the fact that we get to interact with property owners. There are many of them don't even know what they're looking out for, so they're just out there to window shop. I like the opportunity to engage with them. I like the opportunity to tell them what we have to offer. I'm excited to announce that last year we had a number of them actually coming into Aqua Properties here with us. So the Habitat Fair we're excited to be a part of it. We actually look forward to it from the beginning of every year, and we have a special discount for patrons that will visit us at the Habitat Fair and go ahead and make a purchase. In fact, I will not disclose the discount. It's a special package. If you want to find out, look out for us at the Habitat Fair. I assure you, my team is excited. They are pumped up. They are looking forward to meet you. Last year, we had an amazing time. I mean, I'm proud to announce that a number of the patrons actually came here to acquire properties with us, and that's why we are even more excited, looking forward to this time. So visit us at the Habitat Fair. Come, let's have a great time, and we will give you a special discount if you will purchase and make a payment in the month of November.
So there you have it. Visit Apollonia City at this year's Habitat Fair, and yeah, definitely you're going to get some discounts, some juicy discounts for that matter. See you there.
Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for my blunt thoughts. And every Friday, I serve this around this time. In the next few minutes, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with you based on some of the data here. And today I've titled my thoughts, Fiscal Recklessness, a Tax on Journalists, and a Non-Existent Galamsey Battle, How We Continue to Flop. Fiscal recklessness. attacks on journalists, and a non-existent Galamsey battle, or if you like, Galamsey fight, how we continue to flop. You see, I keep thinking about status quo, not the status quo ante, the status quo in Ghana. And it just always gets me thinking about how we got here. This morning, in the course of the news review, as Nana Yausapong of the Alan Chemanting team, the campaign, was speaking about leadership and policy, I said to him, we also need proper followership. There's leadership and there's followership. Sometimes, if you have leaders and they try to go in a certain direction and the followers fail to follow, what do you think happens? It's like a sheepdog. You know what a sheepdog is, right? They lead the way, they try to herd the sheep. But sometimes the sheep are, very stubborn. And you know what happens there? The sheepdog must keep doing it. But that is why we need leaders who can persist, who will insist, persist, and ensure that we get to the promised land. But no, our leaders who have decided to be misleaders rather choose the path of opportunism, of ethnocentrism, of selfishness and greed. And they choose their interests over the collective interest. And that is why we are here. I gave you that quote some time back from Thomas Sankara. It just came to mind. This is spontaneous, right? We can choose either to have champagne for a few or water for all. Now, if you live past the wager area, only God knows how you are able to, the water you get, what you are able to do with it, as Nana Yausapong was sharing this morning. But let me get to the slides as I give you a breakdown of why I still feel we are continuing to flop as a nation. Sports, Yamutu. Governance, Yamutu. Fight against Galamsey, non-existent. Why? Why? And in addition to all of that, our institutions, unsurprisingly, are also failing. They are reckless. So I'm going to source information from the latest Imani Oxfam Financial Recklessness report, the third one. Remember, between 2015 and 2020, there was one. We have made gains. 2015 to 2020, that window, it was pretty high, and you also know why it was high. But though it has gone down, if you look at the quantum of money we are still bleeding, it makes no sense because we are going to IMF for similar sums. Sometimes one tranche is equivalent to what we are bleeding here. But let's come to the charts. Let's go back to the previous one. We've not. So 4.9 billion Ghana cedis. The financial irregularities between 2021 and 2023. And mind you, we are told that every year, Finance Ministry under Ken Oforiatta made us know every year we bleed about $4 billion in terms of losses, wastage, corruption actually. Okay, and that is even a conservative figure. So if you look beyond it, it could be higher. Some estimate about 6 billion, which is twice as much as we are going to the IMF for. But this one focuses on financial irregularities. Between this period, that's about a 2-3 year period. 4.9 billion Ghana cedis lost. If you use today's exchange rate, you are getting over $300 million. That is equivalent to about one tranche of money that we get from the IMF. Right there. Let's go to the next slide. The shocker, which is not so much of a shocker because the finance ministry has proven itself, grossly incompetent in this. The Ministry of Finance topped the list of MDAs as the most fiscally, or MMDAs, as the most fiscally reckless institution between 2021 and 2023. I want to pause here because under Ken Oforiatta, it was same. So it's not a Ken Oforiatta problem. It's a finance ministry problem. Which is why Dr. Amin Adam has taken over, and of course, the ripple effects, he's feeling them as well. What is happening at the finance ministry? Do you recall back then when someone was earning, I think, 20,000 cedis plus, was it another 15,000, another about 12,000, and all of these people were on salary at the finance ministry, and they weren't even working at the ministry. Do you remember that report? And we never got to know what happened to those people and whose heads rolled on the back of those financial, malpractices or malfeasance. All of these are going on. And if you read the report further, you would have the meat, the details there. What is happening with our finance ministry? But it doesn't stop there. Let's go to the next slide. If you look at this list, and I think after the fifth one, there's also the ministry, the justice ministry, right? They are also there, I think the sixth. If you look at the top ministries, so finance ministry on top, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Ministry of Communications, Ministry of Roads and Highways, Ministry of Health, and then the Justice Ministry, the Attorney Generals. If you look at the top queues, they are all cabinet ministries. Cabinet ministries, fiscally reckless. They are leading this ignominious league log. And you ask yourself, because in much more serious jurisdictions, it is some of the other ministries or sectors that you would find these things in. I think at the very bottom of the league log, you would have the Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Ministry. They are rather not engaging in this. Rather, it is the top tier. And when I say top tier, it's not to denigrate any ministry, but to say that if you're a cabinet ministry and you're engaging in this level of fiscal recklessness, we ought to put the microscope on you. And why are some of them constantly on top? What is happening? Shouldn't we rather be addressing those ones? Well, next slide. Having spoken about our fiscal recklessness and how it's ensuring that we remain poor while some become rich. Generally, we remain poor, lack water, while a few enjoy the champagne. But it's up to us and what we decide moving forward for leadership. Then something that breaks my heart, my brother, Erastus Asare Donkwa. It appears the saying, it's not worth dying for Ghana, at least in its current form, is true. Because it makes no sense. You try your hardest, and I have been attacked, I have been threatened, I have been all manner of things. It's okay. But you see, this gentleman goes down deep into the trenches, if you like, to bring us some of the information we use so that all of us collectively can have a better life. And his team is attacked like this. Our team is attacked like that. And till today, there is no statement from the presidency on it. I think it's a crying shame. And Mr. President, if you're watching me this morning, you, your advisors, your team should bow your heads in shame and reflect. Why? Erastus Asare Donkwa and his crew were attacked by armed men at a mining site in the Ashanti region. Out of the mouth of one of them, we can do this. Yabain Newoso. And Mr. President didn't deem it important. And no communicator, at least those in the top echelons, deemed it important to come and wash the linen of the party clean and say, we dissociate ourselves from those comments. We don't stand for that. They don't think it's necessary. When someone is saying that Yabain Newoso, do you know the extent to which that goes? It means once any party is in power, we then take over and do these things and pillage the land because our party is in power. But what do I know? What do I know? If it were something else, something unnecessary sometimes useless, that one, you'll have government apparatchiks and all manner of people coming to sit here and tell lies. But on something like this, we keep mum, as though we had been muzzled. And we will not talk about it. But if, God forbid, something had happened to this colleague of mine, he has a family. And for those going around threatening, sometimes you'll be doing a live show and you'll have some people sending in some infantile, puerile, downright stupid messages, threatening. Yeah? We'll start sending you to the police. We are tracing some of you. We'll start sending you to the police. We'll have to start taking action against some of you. But going to the next slide, like I said, so far, no reaction. It's okay. I guess they can hold their peace. It reminds me of one of the placards held by one of those who demonstrated on the back of Galamsey at the UK High Commission, the Ghanaian High Commission in the UK. And what it said about our president's silence on topical matters. How abrasive it can be. But you can't force his mouth, you can't force his tongue, and you can't force his conscience. Next slide. So I'll leave you with some reflections of two people on the Galamsey menace. And there's truth in there. Professor Doji Chikata says, attacks on media personnel by political party operatives have become increasingly rampant and alarming. It's not that government doesn't know. Reporters Without Borders, the reports that have come point to a steep decline. We are declining in everything. Corruption Perception Index, well, it's going up, negative. Press freedom, everything. She says, such actions must be thoroughly condemned and resisted. And sometimes I look at our media people as well and cogitate, think whether we are strong enough collectively to do the right thing. But because many people have also allowed politics to water them down, they can't do much because they've been influenced, whether on this side or that side, which then makes for a lack of proper journalism in some cases. Then we also have Dr. Arthur Kennedy, if we go to the next slide, our final slide, who says, we are beating around the bush. If we want to solve the problem, we must go to the source and solve it. But none of the political parties will solve it. As I have proposed, we need extraordinary measures to solve this. Extraordinary measures. Today, just reflect on it as I wrap. Today, as I speak now, Obi, to Galamsey. As I speak right now, as you watch me, someone is somewhere. To Galamsey, gidi, 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 gidi. There's a government official who has made a call this morning, checking on his concession. There are some people who are despoiling our land right now as I speak, and they are doing it with impunity. So Operation Halt, well, actually what we need is a halt to the stupidity and a halt to political party patronage, a halt to ethnocentrism, a halt to yabain the waso so we can do anything we want, impunity, and the commencement of proper thinking and empathy, not just for ourselves, but for posterity, the generations to come. Every responsible parent tries to build something and hand over to the children when they pass on. For us, we are destroying everything. What will we pass on to the next generation? Think about it. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. I always pray, may God continue to bless Ghana and make her great and strong. Welcome back on the AM show. We dig right into our big stories, and there have been some interesting outcomes in the recent telephone polls by Global Info Analytics as Dr. Baumia makes a strong showing among first-time voters, but not enough to tilt the scales, as John Dramani Mahama is still set to win with no second round expected. This morning, we unpack the details of the weekly telephone polls by Global Info Analytics. Joining me, the leader, the head of that group, Musa Dankwa. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Benjamin.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I can see in your batakari.
Today is Friday.
Today is a Friday, yeah, so we are reflecting, the traditional bits. Just give us a bird's eye view. We'll be projecting some of this onto our screens and taking a look at them, but give us a bird's eye view. First off, How long have you been conducting these telephone polls, and is there a pattern that is showing?
In fact, we started way back in March as a back check on the field polls that we do. But we did not publish those back check polls until sometime in September, when we published the first one. And then when we finished our field polls in October, then we reverted back to telephone polls publicly, because we believe that from the last time we did the field poll and election, it's a bit of time and things could be changing in our blind side. So we didn't want that to happen. So we went back to the weekly tracking poll, making sure that we are following voters, and any changes that is happening, we'll be right there to see it and then report it back. So we've been doing that since first week or so, or second week of October. Every Monday to Saturday, we poll, and then we report on Monday in that sequence, yes.
I see. And like I asked, has there been a pattern that has emerged?
If there is a pattern, there is consistency between the field polls and the telephone polls. And then also more probably reliable with the telephone polls than the field polls. Whatever pattern we've seen in the way NPP sympathizers are behaving is consistent between the field polls and the telephone polls. The behavior of NDC voters in the field polls are consistent with their behavior in the telephone polls. The behavior of floating voters in the field poll is consistent with telephone polls. The behavior of people who don't tell you their party affiliation and the way they are voting is consistent in the field polls and the telephone polls. And also, what we've seen is that for those who 2020 voted for Nanado, it is much higher in the telephone polls who are now voting for Mahama. So there are a lot more people who said, yes, I voted in 2020 and I voted for Nanado, but this time around I'm voting for John Mahama. That number is a lot higher in the telephone polls than the field polls.
I see. And this is the second national telephone poll?
Yes.
So let's look at, if you look at the executive summary, it talks about the fact that this second poll was conducted in October 2024, and it shows Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Alan Kojo Chemating, and Nana Kwame Bediako all making gains as John Mahama drops compared to the previous poll. However, John Mahama still maintains the overall lead. Let's look at the dynamics of who made gains, how much they made in gains, and how much of a loss John Mahama made in that regard.
Right. Let me quickly grab that data from the previous poll. In the first poll that we did and published, I think Mahama was on 53% in that poll, 53.1%. And Bawumia was on 39%. Alan on 1.7%. Bediako was on 5.2%, and others were on 1%. In the second tracking poll that we did, that just ended, Mahama then drops to 51.1%, and Bawumia goes to 40.6%. Alan goes to 2%, and Bediako goes to 5.6%. You could see that Mahama dropped about 2% from his previous polling number. And then Bawumia gained 1.6%. Then Alan gained 0.3%, Bediako gained 0.6%, and the other parties, candidates also lost 0.4%. So these were the movement within the polling numbers over the week.
Who is the biggest gainer?
Bawumia in this case.
By how many points?
1.6%.
1.6%?
Yes.
I see. And if you look at John Mahama, what then would be his loss percentage collectively?
It's about, not just. It's about 2%.
About 2%?
Yes.
So if Dr. Bawumia gained 1.6% in the telephone polls and John Mahama lost cumulatively about 2%, it means quite a lot of that went, at least you could say that while others have also made inroads, it's almost as though that had translated minus 0.4%. The rest of it had translated to Dr. Bawumia. Is that what it means?
Yes. The others two lost 0.4. So the losses were around 2.4. And then we have Bediako getting 0.6, Alan getting 0.3, and Bawumia getting 1.6% of that minus 2.4% drop.
What does this really mean? Because you say that this buttresses the ground polls, the polls on the ground that you keep getting. Are there any disparities, no matter how minuscule, between what you get when you speak to people directly on the ground and the telephone polls? Are there any discrepancies?
Yes, in the sense of party affiliation. Over the telephone, there are fewer people who say they won't tell you their party affiliation. But in the field, they'll say, I won't tell you. When you call them again over the telephone, you see that number reduces. And again, you have people who...
So you're basically saying there are those who are reluctant to tell you face to face.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
Yes, yes.
Maybe it's in a... Where do you interview these people? Is it in open places?
Open places, normally.
Okay,
but you pull them aside and talk to them.
Okay, so maybe someone feels the environment I'm in, if I say something, someone may hear and it may have consequences. So they don't say it?
Absolutely. Some of them, yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what we've seen. And also, there aren't huge difference between the field polls and then the telephone polls with regard to overall voting intention. None of the polls so far has shown runoff, whether in the field survey or in the telephone survey. Consistently, they've given us above the required threshold for one-touch victory.
I see. And is this consistent, though? Because I've seen some polls. The NPP conducted its own poll, and I think I've seen one other poll that said that they were neck and neck, kind of like Trump and Harris in the United States. And your polls are a sharp, deviation from that.
I mean, if you look at how we break down our polls, you can really drill down and see why our poll is not saying neck and neck. Because if in the poll you have 25% of people who in 2020 cast their vote for Nanado and now switching to Mahama, that's a
25%.
25%.
25%
Yes.
of people who voted for
Nanado
now switching and saying they will vote for Mahama.
Absolutely. So that's the first leg of the equation.
Okay.
Now, if it has to be neck and neck, then the first-time voters must break heavily towards John Bawumia to make up for the losses. But in this current elections, first-time voters are insignificant. They are less than 6%. So you can't lose 25% of the huge chunk of voters and make the difference up from the first-time voters who are no significant in this election.
So 6%, that would leave you with a deficit of about 19% if you're just using the raw, figures. It may not necessarily mean exactly that.
No.
But if you
because
do
even the first-time voter, they're sharing it. It's not like a blowout.
Right.
They are sharing them. But Bawumia has a lead among the first-time voters. But there are not enough of them in this election.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that these are those who have just turned 18. First-time voters could be people who are past 18 but have never voted before.
In fact, we have analysis that we make. We ask people first-time voters, and then those who did not vote, even though they were able to vote last time. Now, when you look at the first-time voters on their own, Bawumia has a slight edge, about 10-point advantage over Mahama in the polls that we are doing. But if you bring people together, those who didn't vote last time, but want to vote now, which includes some older people and then the first-time voters, Bawumia's lead then shrinks.
Shrinks to what?
Nothing.
So basically, on that score, they are neck and neck.
Yes.
On that particular bit, with first-time voters.
First-time voters plus those who didn't vote last time.
Okay. So when you say the last time, 2020?
2020, yes.
So they didn't vote in 2020, but this time they say they will vote.
Yes.
And they are inching towards John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
So that waters down the effect of
any recovery you may have
the
made.
9% plus among first-time voters for Dr. Bawumia.
Absolutely.
So the poll then shows that what exactly? Something interesting. So you have so John Mahama leads the NPP's candidate, Dr. Bawumia. That is 51.1 to 40.6. If you look at this, you're projecting an almost 11% gap. Then, another interesting bit, Nana Kwame Bediako with 5.6%.
Yes.
3.6% higher than Alan Tremantin at 2%. And then the others are, per your projections, going to share 0.6%. I mean, at this point, this could be your final, if not final, at least.
No, we are doing this weekly until around end of November.
Yes, but if you look at these, at least what they are evincing, between now and December the 7th, not much will change.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Between now and, you don't project, as a surveyor or researcher, you don't project that much will change about this, do you?
I will hold on to that projection because we have seen some turbulence in the poll, in the current one we are doing. And that could mean something.
That's the current one?
The current one, which will finish today.
I see. So this week?
This week.
What sort of turbulence? Just give us a bird's eye view into where the turbulence is coming from.
I think we've seen John Mahama would expand his lead compared to last week.
Extend his lead?
Yes.
I see. When you look at these figures relative to our general electoral pattern, 51 to 51.1% to 40.6%, that's quite a gap. Not even in 2016 did we see, a gap this big. 11 percentage points is huge. Today, usually you would have, in some of the past elections, you can have the NDC garner about 10 out of the 16 regions, or previously when it was 10 regions, about 7 of those regions, and still lose elections because of the numbers in the Ashanti region and other places, including the eastern and western regions. If you look at these forecasts, what are the voting patterns in, I want to know, in the strongholds of these different parties?
I think that is where the MB has the issue.
That's where the NPP has the issue?
Yes.
How so?
Okay. In the Akan regions, mainly Akan regions, Eastern region, Ashanti region, Ahafo, Bono East, Western North, and Central, Bawumia is not doing well there. And John Mahama at the moment leads in the Akan regions.
When you say Akan regions, which ones?
The ones I've just mentioned.
He leads in them?
Yes.
He leads in the Ashanti region?
No. When you put all together.
When you put all of them together?
As a block. And indeed, let's look at it from this angle. We try to compare the current polling and how 2020 election panned out to see why the gap that we are seeing now, to make sense of it. Let's take the Akan block. In the 2020 elections, Nahado got 72% of the Akan votes. Mahama got 26% in 2020 elections.
So 72 versus 26?
26.
Okay.
Currently, in the polls, Mahama is on 44% in the accounts.
From 26 to 44?
Yes.
That's a gain of about 18 percentage points.
17%, roughly, 18%. And Bawumia is on 46%. That's a loss of 25% compared to Nanado.
And that leaves a difference of just 2%.
Yes. So when we say that he's struggling in the Akan regions, this is the additional data that proves that.
And is this per the telephone polls, the ground polls, or both put together?
This is the telephone polls. When we asked them, who did you vote for in 2020? And what they told us, how they voted. And then when we see how they intend to do now, this analysis is what we are presenting you today.
How do you account for, the pluses, the minuses? How do you account for those who may be lying to you? I mean, that is also possible. People who may speak untruths. How does your system sift such information to ensure you're getting accurate information?
When you have the right tools, you can run a triangulation report, a cross-tab report, and you can fish out those people who are lying to you. And you see, we don't box people.
Do you do that?
In fact, we don't box people in a corner. We give them option. If you don't want to disclose, say, I won't disclose. So we are not giving you black and white options.
You're not giving them leading questions?
No. So if you feel like you don't want to tell us who you voted for in 2020, there are options to say, I will not disclose. And that number is very insignificant.
Insignificant?
Yeah, so we don't box them in the corner for them to lie to us. See, when you box them in the corner, then they may tend to lie to you. But when there are so many options for them to choose, they will not lie to you.
Where are you seeing, and I want us to do a little regional in the Akan regions, but where are you seeing the steepest declines, that is losses for the NPP or Dr. Bawumia, and gains for the NDC or John Mahama. Where is this happening? And later, I will focus on the Ashanti region alone. But let's look at where are the steepest declines.
Ahafo is one of the areas that are...
The Ahafo region.
Yes, Ahafo region. One of the areas MPP must really watch out. Bono is another region that they are struggling. Eastern region is another region they have to watch out.
So you're mentioning the highest, where the declines are the highest.
The highest, I'll take Ashanti region.
The decline is highest in the Ashanti region?
In terms of what it means. Remember, there are 3-point-something million voters there. So
right.
What it means is quite significant.
Okay, so the attrition is high there.
Ashanti region is 1. Eastern region is 2. Ahafo is 3. Bono is 4. So these 4 regions are proving to be problematic for MPP right now.
How steep are the declines in the Ashanti region? Let's look at it. We know for a fact that when the MPP performs well in the Ashanti region, scoring well over 70% of the votes, and they have, I've heard some target even 80%, scoring over 70%, well into the mid-70s, they would carry the day based on the number of votes they're getting from the Ashanti region. What's the picture looking like this time? And is it possible, per some projections by the MPP, that they are saying they want to? I believe even the running mate has spoken about 80%. Is that what you are getting on the ground?
That's not feasible. From what we have seen, no.
80% is not feasible?
No, it's not feasible. In fact, they will struggle to hit 70%.
The MPP will struggle to hit 70% in election 2024?
From the data we have seen.
For the presidential?
Consistently. This is not like a snapshot. We have seen this over a period of more than 9 months.
More than 9 months?
Since Alan and Cheddar entered the race, they've not hit 70%.
Before that?
Before that, they were hovering around 70, 71%.
70, 71?
Yes.
But once Alan Chemating and Nana Kwame Bediako came into the picture, it became problematic. Which means then, you can deduce that the Ashanti or Akan factor and the whole Alan split and all of that have had consequences, as some political watchers projected, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Besides Ashanti region, even in the Eastern region, they're also having the same impact in the Eastern region. And these are the 2 vote baskets for the MPP for any election. So we're not in the normal times when it comes to election 2024.
It is. These are very interesting times. And your projection then is what? From the latest survey, what is the percentage in the Ashanti region for the MPP?
66% for MPP in Ashanti region.
66%.
Mahama,
where is the other, 34% going?
Mahama is 23%.
23% for Mahama.
Alan, 3%.
Alan, 3%.
Bediako, 9%.
Nana Kwame Bediako, 9%. How do you account for these numbers in terms of, I understand, some of these candidates, I don't want to say certain things, and it's an interesting picture, and you will not denigrate any one of them, though I do not believe in some of them. But if you look at the numbers and Alan Chemating's performance, some would think that Alan Chemating would have been performing far better than your polls reveal. What do you think is happening?
It's the youth.
Because Nana Kwame Bediako is scoring 3 times what figures you are getting for Alan Chemating.
See, let's break down Ashanti region into a bit more of granular. Ashanti region is made up of MPP voters, NDC voters, and floating voters. The strength of Alan and Bediako is not within MPP voters in that region. Their support emanates from floating voters in the Ashanti region. And those voters in that region who don't disclose their party affiliation, who are normally disgruntled MPP, but they won't tell you because they're not NDC. So Alan and Bediako's support comes from these 2 blocks. And for Bediako, between 18 and 34 years, that is where most of his support comes from.
So his support base is predominantly youthful?
Youthful, yes.
So he's managing to convince young people to give him a chance.
Yes, and remember, young people are over 50% of the voting population currently.
That could have been his ace in the pack if there were going to be a runoff where he could, call on his supporters to vote this way or that. But you're also projecting that there's not going to be any such thing.
In fact, you see, if Alan Mbediakun had done or are doing extremely well among floating voters, to the extent that they chip away what had gone to Mahama, then they could drag the race into runoff. At the moment, Mahama is doing extremely well among the floating voters, extremely well. So the remaining performance that we are seeing currently, in fact, if you put Alan and Mbediakun together among floating voters, they outnumber what Bawumia gets among floating voters.
Alan's numbers, Nana Kwame Bediako's numbers outnumber what Bawumia is getting among floating voters.
Absolutely.
So he's performing abysmally there.
That is the problem.
And that is a place, that is an angle that if the NPP wants to make inroads, they have to look at.
Yes.
First-time voters. Or floating voters. Floating voters. I see. So you're saying, technically, because if you look at some of the past results, and then you look at what the NDC per this poll is getting, 23%, it would have still worked in the interest of the NPP if they were getting about 73, 74%, and then 3% were going to the others. But with the presence of Alan Chemating and Nana Kwame Bediako, it just spoils the whole situation
That's
for
the
the
current
NPP.
situation for MPP in the region.
I see. Which works then for the candidate of the NDC?
Yes. So long as he doesn't go to Bawumia, he's okay.
Let me reverse this. Let's look at the Volta region, which is, because since we've looked at the strongholds of, let's also look at the Volta region and maybe the northern belt of the country. The traditional strongholds, which in a way, if you look at the northern belt, there have been some shifts, in some cases, seismic shifts. And I bring that up because both contenders are from the northern belt of the country. Let's start with the Volta region. Recently, I think I heard the president, I could be corrected, talk about, or some prominent members of the NPP talk about hoping to get about 300,000 votes. In the last election, I mean, this is a constituency, I mean the region, that gives him about 100,000 votes, the NPP. What are the dynamics there? And is the 300,000 dream feasible?
Now, if you look at the fact that they are draining vote in Akan areas, it is illogical to think that they will make up that number from Volta region. Because that is a stronghold of the NDC. Currently in the polls, NDC is getting about 72% of the Volta vote. Bawumia is getting 18% of that, of the vote. Alan gets 1%, and Bediako gets 8%. What we've seen in Volta region is that the MPP voting in Volta region are moving towards Nana Kwame Bediako.
So rather than vote NPP, they are deciding to move towards
Kwame Bediako.
In terms of the fortunes of the NDC, let's go over that number. Are they draining votes?
72%.
72%.
Yeah. Which is
pretty low.
Yeah. No, that's where they have always performed. It hasn't been.
I mean, it's been higher before.
Yeah, when
in earlier years, it was far higher than that, 80%.
Pre-2016, a lot has changed from 2016 to now. I mean, I think when it comes to voter analysis, I don't think we should go beyond 2016 because a lot has happened in the demographic of voters we have now than what we had in 2012.
How do you think this pattern fits? Because you're talking about the NDC and in the Volta region securing around 72%, which used to be 80, 90% from the 90s coming. You see a certain pattern. And in the Ashanti region, what do you think is accounting for this? Is it a more enlightened,
absolutely,
a more active voting population that wants to look into issues rather than party politics?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the demography of voters, more than half of them are young voters, below 34 years of age. And this group of people are less tribalistic, less ethnic, and more dynamic in their thinking and progressive. So the stuff that used to woo voters in this country has rapidly changed.
The patterns have changed.
You know, we don't have
the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas are also, you know.
Absolutely. So if you go back to 2004, 2008, I mean, those are ages where we have people who were quite older and so on and so forth. But now it's a different ball game altogether.
I see. Okay, let's look at gender, the role gender plays in all of this. You talk about John Dramani Mahama and 51.1% to Dr. Bawumia's 40.6%. But when it comes to gender in terms of registered voters, there's a slight change. Tell us about that.
What you see here is that among the male voters, Mahama leads with about 52%, Bawumia 39%. But when it comes to the
male voters is what?
52 to 39%.
Okay.
And Alan 2%, Bediako 6%.
Okay.
When it comes to female voters, Mahama is 49%, Bawumia 44%. The lead there has been cut.
Okay. To 5 percentage points.
For the female voters. Do you know why?
Why?
The female single mom and parents of those who have enjoyed the free education are backing Bawumia stronger than other block of voters.
Okay. So the female, you know, the mothers or those who in some close proximity have enjoyed free SHS, that accounts for the difference.
Yes.
Because they feel, and of course, that has also been put out there that, oh, if you vote for this person, free SHS will not continue and all of that. So the politics has played
in that
on that.
A shrink in that. But there's a stark difference between those who actually attended the free education and then the views of their parents.
Okay, so you are talking specifically more in respect of parents here.
Parents and then the students.
Parents and students.
Yes.
But what's the difference between parents and students? As in the pattern of registered voters.
The parents are the ones who saved money because of free education. So they got the financial relief because of free education. And the students were the ones who were sent to the school to study. Finished the senior high, some stopped there, others went to university. Now when you poll this age group, John Mahama is leading among these students.
Among the students?
The students, yes.
Who benefited?
Who benefited.
Okay. But among their parents, who felt the pinch, whatever it may have been, positive or negative, Dr. Bawumia leads?
Yes.
Interesting dynamics. You know, like I said, while we media people will be extremely busy around this time, I can't wait with my popcorn, you know, to watch the movie that will unfold. And then we'll be calling some of you.
Sure.
We'll be calling you, we'll be calling the Beneficents, we'll be calling some of those who have polled, the KTU man, and all of these people to ask when the polls are finally out. Now, the Muhun is saying. Now, who can say you? You know, we'll give you a call.
No, of course.
This is what you said. Oh.
Of course.
And the way it's going, if your predictions turn out to be spot on, at least we don't expect that maybe it will be exactly that. But if it's in the neighborhood, plus or minus, we'll give you your flowers. But if not, hey, scatter.
I know.
Kata will come.
That one we fully understand.
You fully understand. Okay. All right. So looking at all of these dynamics, then you talk about weighting in terms of gender and all of that. Who gets the maximum points from there? Who wins the battle when it comes to gender?
When you weigh the sample, take into account the fact that there are more women on the register than men, and because Bawumia was doing well among women, then overall he tends to benefit on that score.
Okay, now, so it tends to benefit whom more?
Bawumia.
Okay.
So he closed the gap when you analyze the polls based on gender weighting. So that's a very good plus for him. Unfortunately, again, for him, which he has to work on, is that the surveys have shown that women are less likely to vote in the election. There's a higher apathy among female voters than male voters. So if you can address that, if you are winning among the female voters and there's apathy there and you can galvanize them, you'll be in trouble.
I see. And you're looking at gender in terms of male dominating at 65%?
Yeah, in the sample. So when you...
In the sample?
So when you correct that anomaly, then you have a different kind of phrase.
And females at 35%. And you corrected the sample.
The reason is that, you see, when we go to the field, the girls don't want to give you their numbers because they think you will call them and harass them.
Okay,
So
I get it.
The telephone numbers we get from the field are skewed towards the men, but the women don't like giving us the number.
I see. There are so many interesting dynamics when you go on the field because, I mean, there's so much thinking into why does this man want my number? Or why do these people, you don't go yourself, why do these people want my phone numbers?
We do tell them, though, that we want to be able to call them sometime in the future so that we can take their views on certain national issues. So if they accept, then they give us a number. If they don't, then they walk away. And the evidence is that more men are willing to give their numbers than the women. That's why the database is a heavily skewed against the women.
I see. Which means that there could be a constituency of women that you are not getting to speak to who could also shift the voting patterns on election day.
That is why we adjust the sample using the proportion of female voters we have on the register compared to men.
You also look at age dynamics, educational dynamics. I'm curious, age, education, and also employment, because you look at the samples of those you are speaking to, 1% pensioners, 8% students or apprentices, unemployed 21%, employed 70%. How do these factors, let's look at age, how does it fit into the general information you're getting? What do you think the pattern there is?
The gap between John Mahama and Bawumia among younger groups is a bit smaller. For example, between 18 to 24 years, Mahama is on 46%, Bawumia 37%. But then between 25 and 34 years, Mahama goes to 56% and Bawumia 35%. And then when you go to age 35 to 44, Mahama 50, Bawumia 43. So there are certain demographics that Bawumia leads. For example, he leads among 45 to 54. And I think that, and then he also leads between 55 and 64 years old. So if you look at that, clearly the younger people right now are tilting towards Mahama, but the gap is not huge.
Okay, and then when it comes to education.
Yes, education is quite interesting. Those in junior high, Mahama slim lead 49 to 47, 2 points lead over Bawumia. When it comes to senior high, Mahama is 53, Bawumia 37%. And among the tertiary, which has been a group that Bawumia used to lead comfortably, now he's trailing. Mahama 49, Bawumia 40%, and Bediakun 8% among graduates. In fact, his highest percentage of vote comes from graduates, both with tertiary level education.
Okay. All right. So that's the interesting bit there. And then it comes to employment status as well, and then religion. What are the dynamics there? Employment status and then religion.
Religion, among Christians, Mahama leads with 10 points, 51-41. And then when it comes to Muslims, Mahama leads 58% to 38%, about 20 points gap. Those with traditional religion, Mahama 47, Bawumia 26. And then those with other religions, Bawumia leads 76% to 12%. But those without religion, he also leads 48 to 35%. But among the major religious groups, Mahama dominates.
I see. Let's head to, and I did mention earlier, we took a brief swipe at it. Let's go back. I want to also look at, like I mentioned, the Northern Belt and how competitive it will be. If you go to the home region of these two, Savannah and, and it's interesting because they're all fighting for that same constituency. And I'm not talking about one constituency, I'm talking about the Northern Belt. What picture plays out in those areas?
Right. Let's look at the first poll that we did in the Northern Belt put together. All the Northern region, Savannah, Upper East, Upper West, and Northeast region. Mahama was on 57% and Bawumia 39% in those blocks put together.
57%
to 39%.
To 39%. That's a difference of about 18%.
Yes. But in the recent poll, Mahama drops to 53%. And Bawumia goes to 44%. So Mahama drops 4% and Bawumia gains 5%.
That's in which region?
In all the 5 northern region put together.
Okay.
All the northern block. So you can see that in that region, or those regions, the gap is kind of shrinking.
So in the home region of the candidates,
yes,
who is on top?
Okay, let's look at the regional block, not block, the regions per se, directly. Okay, now if you take a look at Northeast region. The survey in the Northeast over the years has shown Bawumia leading. But this particular last survey shows Mahama leading in Northeast, which is outlier in that sense, because that's the first time we've seen Mahama lead.
You mean this current poll? First time you're seeing that?
Yes, first time we're seeing that. So
Okay.
even though he's leading, we're not going to give it to him. He won't win that. Now, if you go to Savannah, Mahama is on 51%, Bawumia 46%. The lead is a bit smaller than it should be normally. So it's also probably outlier, but it's within the same, not too far off. And then Northern region is where it is closer. Mahama is still on top, 53%, Bawumia 44%. So Northern region will be closer, but I don't think it will be turned blue this election cycle, no.
So if you look at it, if you are considering Wale Wale, and then you are considering the Damongo area, Bole to be specific, you are saying that the difference is not much to be considered.
No, no.
So you look at the Northeast region and you look at the Savannah region.
Because we expect Bawumia to win big in Northeast and Mahama to win big in Savannah. That will cancel themselves out.
But how big is the question, if you look at the population?
For some reason, Northeast is hotly contested because of some issues there. I think NPP has their own local issues that may plague them in the upcoming election. Also, traditionally, it hasn't been blue until around 2012 when it changed hands. So those things will still play out. There are people who are NDC there and still NDC and vote for Mahama. So we don't expect that if Bawumia wins the region, we'll probably win it by additional 4% better than Nano did in 2020 elections.
We spoke about religion earlier. Now that you've given us a clue in terms of the general situation in the Northern Belt, 57 to 39%, but then when you do the disaggregation, you would find that in the Northeast region, while it can be a bit tricky, you have Dr. Bawumia in the lead, but when you come to the Savannah region, each in his stronghold is going to hold it down.
Yes.
It's going to be a throwdown there.
Yes.
John Mahama is also in the lead there, and this will cancel out, which leaves the rest of the regions, the Northern region among others. What is happening in the rest of them?
Upper East would be a bit closer because of the effect of the spillover of Northeast into Upper East. You have a bit of the same demographic in Northeast region that cut across Upper East. So that effect will also blow into Upper East region. And that would cause for the Upper East gap to shrink. We still expect Mahama to win Upper East region. Upper West is fairly the same. Nothing is going to change in Upper West.
Okay, lest I forget, like I started talking to you about, there are times when the NDC has won 10 out of 16 regions and still lost. Your projections as of now, this poll, proves that how many regions likely is the NDC going to win? How many likely the NPP going to win?
You know, on a bad day, I think NDC could win about 13 to 12 seats, 12 regions.
On a bad day?
On a bad day, it will be 12.
On a bad day,
yes,
it will be 12.
Yes.
On a good day, it could be 13.
Yes.
Which then leaves the NPP to win what?
Ashanti, Eastern, and Northeast.
Ashanti,
Eastern,
and
Northeast.
Northeast.
If they fail to hold Ahafo.
That is, if they fail to hold Ahafo.
Yes.
If Ahafo falls. And falling reminds me of the walls of Jericho. If Ahafo falls, then they could end up with Ashanti, Eastern, and Northeast.
Yes.
And you think these projections will hold till December the 7th? I know you do this weekly.
Yeah, so...
But by and large, averagely, you think this will hold till...
I think if NPP outperforms the poll, then they could add Bono to the list. So they could have Bono, Ahafo, Northeast, Ashanti, and Eastern region if they outperform the polling numbers.
So best case scenario for the NPP, 5 regions.
Yes.
Best case scenario.
Yes.
Worst case scenario for the NDC, like you mentioned. So that would be 11 or 12 regions.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's look at the permutations. I want us to go back briefly and look at the permutations in terms of religion. And you know why it's important?
Yes.
Religion has become quite a bit about the first Muslim, to lead the NPP. And others too have made mention of the fact that, remember Alan's statement about Christians voting. So it's also come to the fore. Let's look at the Christian blocks, at least per your survey, the breakdown, and let's also look at the Islamic sects, and maybe then we'll go to the ethnic groups. Let's start with the Christian denominations. What figures show there?
Now, I always want to compare the figures now and the figures then in 2020. If you look at the figures then in 2020, Christians for Nanado was 66% in 2020 election, per the poll we did.
The Christian vote
for Nanado was 66%. Mahama got 32%. Now, Mahama's on 51% among Christians and Bawumia 41%. So Mahama has gone up 18% among Christians and Bawumia has dropped 25% compared to Nanado.
Well, technically, you can't say Bawumia has dropped. You would say that the vote hasn't even been there for him because the first one is Nanado.
Okay. Maybe,
but he's also been the vice president.
Yes.
So yes, maybe you are right. It rubs off on him as well. What do you think accounts for this?
Look, I think there are things that people don't want to mention when it comes to religion in this country. There are certain Christian blocs that are not comfortable with Muslim candidate, Muslim president, and we can't deny that fact. It's not so much for the traditional or Orthodox Christian groups. So the Catholics, the Anglicans, the Presbyterians, the Methodists, they're not that extreme when it comes to these views. The problems comes with the Pentecostal group and the charismatic groups. That is where the problem comes from, traditionally.
Now, if you look at the patterns, I'm seeing an interesting pattern among Catholics, Pentecostals, and among the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm seeing, what is happening there?
Jehovah's Witnesses, people think they don't vote, but some of them do vote. And if you look at the Jehovah's Witnesses, I mean, Catholics is closer. Mahama 47, Bawumia 45. Methodists, Mahama 48, Bawumia 45. Presby, Mahama 46, Bawumia 48. This should have been a lot higher for Bawumia because the Presbyterians are quite dominant in the Eastern region. When you see it close here, it means Eastern region is not going well for NPP.
Okay, so then you are fusing two factors in.
Yes.
You are fusing religion and ethnic issues together.
Yeah, I didn't mention ethnic. I'm saying that.
No, but I'm saying that because of the region you are looking at.
Normally,
it's an Akan region.
No, the Presbyterians are more prevalent in Eastern region. That's where I come from. Most of the churches are Presbyterian churches. From the mountains all the way to Achim, Presbyterian churches. So if you're not doing well among the Presby sect denomination, it means you are struggling in that Eastern region.
I see.
And then when you look at the Anglican, 42% for Mahama and 48% for Bawumia. Pentecostal, Mahama 49, Bawumia 41.
Pentecostals.
Pentecostals. And then the charismatic churches, Mahama 59, Bawumia 35. You see the gap here is much wider among the charismatic churches. And then when it comes to the others, Mahama is 63, 35 for Bawumia. And among SDA, Mahama is 62, Bawumia 31.
Overall, what does that mean for the Christian denomination?
It means, if you've seen, Mahama has 10 points lead among Christians.
All put together?
All put together, yes.
Let's look at the Islamic sects. Because then, has been touted that, first time a Muslim, leader is going to the polls on the ticket of the NPP. What picture is playing out there? Is it impacting the voting patterns?
I mean, if you look at the Muslim vote, Mahama is about 58% among the Muslims, and Bawumia is around 38%. That's about 20 points gap. But on week basis, Mahama declined 2%, and Bawumia made 1% recovery. So overall, we are not seeing the kind of shift among the Muslim voters to Bawumia as was probably initially envisaged. That movement is not happening. And indeed, if you look at the numbers...
So religion is not playing a factor there, where people will say, he's Muslim, so I'm going to vote for him.
In fact, if you compare the data critically, he's doing 21% less among Muslims now
compared to
Nanado in 2020 elections.
That's a crucial point you're making.
Yes.
You are saying that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia regardless of the fact that he is Muslim, is bleeding about 21% of votes among the Islamic constituency generally, compared to Nanado.
Yes.
Interesting.
From the polls we just did, yes.
Mm. And in the recent, this week's own that you're, I mean, just humor me. Are you seeing the pattern continue?
Nothing is changing.
Nothing is changing.
Yeah. In some cases, some of the metrics will probably get worse.
Some of the metrics likely to get worse.
Yes.
Let's now look at ethnic groupings. And of course, while I want you to talk about all of them, I want you to focus more on the Akan,
yes,
the Gadangbe, the Ewe. And I'm looking at the areas
and
that...
Wale Dagbani, you can leave them out.
You get it, because these tend to be... Greater Accra will have its constituency, the Akan constituencies, the Volta and OT regions, and then, like you mentioned, let's look at them. What picture is there?
If you look at the Akans, Mahama is on 44%.
Akans. Okay, yeah, you mentioned earlier.
46%. When it comes to the Ghana Dangbe...
And Akans here does not refer to the Ashanti region.
No.
It refers to the block of about 5 or 6.
Yeah, Bonos and all those people, Fantis and everybody.
Why?
Ghana Dangbe, Mahama is 70%. Baumia, 22%. The Evers, Mahama is 65%. Baumia, 26%. Wale Dagbani, Mahama 54%. Baumia, 43%. It's almost exactly like the Northern Region poll.
Okay. There seems to be some tussle online. Those who say you did not say, I ask some more. Those who say you did not say that the NDC would win 11 regions. Now, I'm going to say this. If I'm right, tell me. If I'm wrong, correct me. You said that per your polls so far, on a good day, the NDC in the 2024 presidential polls would be winning 12 to 13 regions.
Yes.
12 to 13 regions.
Yes.
For the NDC.
Yes.
On a good day.
Yes.
On a bad day, they could go as low as 11 regions.
Yes.
And the NPP would be getting about 5 regions on a good day.
Yes.
And on a bad day, maybe about 3.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so those of you watching, following on social media who didn't get it, that is exactly what Musa Dankwa is saying. So let's go back to the ethnic groups. Yes.
Yes. So the Wale Dagbani, Mahama 54, Baumia 43. It's close there.
I see. And then we have the Gurma, the Grushi, the Mande, and the Gors as well in there. If we look at party affiliations, I think we've spoken a bit about that already, party affiliations and how they are voting. But let's go to it. Yeah. Those who are, definitively NPP and those who are definitively NDC, and then the other dynamics, how are they responding to your polls?
In the telephone poll, the current poll, about 6% of NPP voters are voting for John Mahama.
About
6%
of NPP voters?
Voters, yes. Self-acclaimed, openly disclosed NPP. 6%.
So these are the people who are saying the NPP need...
Bametuama Mahama.
Bametuama John Mahama.
Yes.
Okay, 6%.
6%.
What's the reverse?
Then 1% NDC voting for Baumia.
Wow. That means there's a gap.
There's a gap of +5 for Mahama within the cross-party support. And then 92% of MPP voters intend to vote for Baumia. 92. 1% will vote
92% of NPP voters intend to vote for Baumia.
Yes.
92%. That's a healthy sum.
But for NDC, it is 98%.
98?
Yes.
So the gap still prevails there.
Prevails.
But then it also depends on whose numbers are more, because if you look at it, that's where the stronghold situation comes in.
Yes. In fact, we've taken a poll of party affiliation over the years. We believe that MPPs voted about 34%, 35%.
Okay.
NDC about 32%. So the gap between MPP and NDC openly is about 3% maximum. Then you have the floating voters. That is where the problem is. 57% of floating voters, John Mahama.
Okay.
21% Bawumia. 5% Alan Chermatin. 16% Anakwam Bediako.
16% in terms of what again?
Floating voters.
Floating voters.
Are preferring Anakwam Bediako.
That's a huge sum.
That is huge.
A figure that could benefit both the NDC and the NPP if they were to dig into that constituency.
Absolutely. And then among those who don't disclose their party affiliation, Mahama gets 38%, Bawumia 27%, Alan 8%, Bediako 23%.
Let's go over those figures again for the sake of putting out the info. And some are complaining that the bit you said, which is why I made you repeat that, and I'm going to repeat it one last time so that we get it, because some of you are talking about what you saw versus what you heard. So, Musa Dankwa is saying, generally, per these polls, these telephone polls, the latest conducted just last week, right?
Yes.
October.
Yes.
Just last week. The NDC on a, and then before I come to you for the percentages you just mentioned, on a bad day is getting about 11 regions. Bad day. On a good day, 12, 13 regions, which then leaves 3 regions for the NPP in terms of the presidential vote. On a good day, per these projections, the NPP is getting 5 of these regions. On a bad day, they may lose Ahafo and may also lose Bono, which would leave them with the Ashanti region, the Eastern region, and the Northeastern region, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia hails from. So that is what has been said. Now, back to the percentages you just gave, especially Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's percentage and then John Mahama's percentage. Focus on that for me.
NPP for Mahama is...
So which grouping are you looking at?
NPP for voting for Mahama, 6%.
That is core NPP members.
Core NPP members.
Declared NPP members.
Yes.
Voting for John Mahama is 6%.
6%.
Right.
NPP voting for Bawumia, 92%.
Right.
NPP voting for Alan, 1%.
Okay, so NPP, those voting for Bawumia, declared NPP members.
Yes.
92%.
Yes.
6%
for Mahama.
For John Mahama. 1% for who?
Alan Chermatin.
Okay.
And 2% for Anakwam Bediako.
Okay. All right. And the other side?
When it comes to the NDC, 98% of NDC, Mahama.
Okay.
1%, Dr. Bawumia. Another 1%, Anakwam Bediako.
Okay.
And then floating voters, Mahama, 57%, Bawumia, 21%, Alan, 6%, Bediako, 16%.
All right. Let's look at the kingmaker regions. Which regions then in this election, if you look at the voting patterns and if you look at the survey patterns, are likely to decide? We all know some of them. At a point, Central has been crucial. Greater Accra, always in there. Ashanti, always in there. Which regions will determine who wins this election?
I think in this election, I believe it will be Greater Accra region.
The Greater Accra region?
Yes.
Will be the core determinant?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
How much you win there or here, or how much you lose here could really unravel the numbers on the night.
Wow. How much you win in the Greater Accra region or lose could impact the election.
Yes.
Because you're looking at the most populous,
About 3.5
the most populous
million
regions in terms of voters, right? Yes. Followed by the Ashanti region.
Yes.
So the focus should be here.
Well, it's for them to decide what strategy to use. It's not for me to advise them.
A final bit. What are you seeing when it comes to skirt and blouse voting? Because in the past, it has done a lot of damage to some.
I mean, we're going to see more of that in this election.
Skirt and blouse?
Absolutely. And we're looking to see a combined vote of NPP parliamentarians outnumbering that of the presidential candidate.
You are looking to see NPP parliamentarians getting more votes than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Yes.
What is accounting for that?
Because one, you have the split of the presidential vote between Mahama, Alan, and Bediako, which gives Bawumia, who lives with less vote. Because Cheddar and Alan are not fielding parliamentary candidates, there are most going to be 2 horse races in many of them. And that would impact the votes Bawumia gets compared to the parliamentarians.
What is the pattern, and this will be my final bit and your final words, what is the pattern for the NDC in terms of skirt and blouse?
No, they are very united. You don't see a lot of skirt and blouse on the NDC side. It's mainly on the NPP side.
I see. So I'm going to reiterate this a final time because I see some of you are still pointing to it. Apparently, maybe something was put up suggesting that the NPP would garner 11 regions. No, that is not what he said. What he said was that worst case scenario, the NDC is getting 11 regions, and I've done the breakdown, so I'll not do it again. And best case scenario, the NPP, per their telephone poll, per Global Info Analytics and their telephone poll, is securing 5 regions. Best case scenario for the NPP. And time will tell as we get there how things will pan out. Final words?
We are still doing the polls. We are continuing the telephone polls until last week of November, and then we will bring out our final predictions based on the average of the polls we've gathered over the period. So people should be watching out for the final polls from us.
Mr. Dankwa, thank you very much for joining the conversation. He leads the Global Info Analytics team, and they have been conducting their survey. So up to what point are you conducting, when will you stop the telephone polls?
About 18th November.
18th November. Yes. Okay, so we have, give or take, 3 weeks plus to go.
Yeah.
All right. We'll stay in touch. We'll see how things go there. Well, right before we segue into our next conversation, Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 555. 15 communities, giving them free water. This is to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Did you know that? Do you also know Syntex tanks come in so many colors, and it was actually the first to come out with inner white layers? If you didn't, now you know. So if it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles, that is at Syntex Ghana, together as one word, and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better the chances of Syntex coming to you. Remember, it is SINTEX, Syntex tank. Don't be any tank be tanko. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, and you're strong, and you're tough. We're taking a breather, and of course, you know to expect some NSMQ action. I noticed from the messages that some people who didn't like Musa Dankwa's predictions were saying we should hurry up and go to NSMQ. Anyway, NSMQ will be coming your way in a bit. Do stay for that. Welcome back on the AM show. We are almost there. The last quarterfinal belt of the NSMQ, the National Science and Math Quiz, and then we'll know the full batch of, the semifinal list. And my school is in there somewhere. It's a tough group, and I'm hoping that we can sail through. St. Hubert, Bishop Herman, St. Augustine's, Catholic schools, Noble Dawson. Hey, they're all in there. But before we segue into that bit, let's talk about Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, and they are partnering the National Science and Math Quiz. They are sponsoring to ensure that you can watch this event live on Joy News. Well, joining me in the studio for a conversation, I have Frederick Dodu Techi. He is Head of Marketing and Communications with Prudential Life Insurance Ghana. Frederick, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Which school did you attend? Senior high school or secondary school?
I attended Pope John.
Pope John?
Senior high.
Hey, chai. Yes. They did it to you yesterday.
Exactly. And minor seminary, in Kufuridia.
You didn't fare badly, though. You gave Presec a run for its money.
Yeah, of course. And what a lot of people do not know is that I think Pope John originally started as a business school before we added science to it.
Right.
And so we are just warming up. I mean, we've won this before, even when we were strongly a business school.
Right.
But I mean, we are warming up to it, and I'm sure one of these days you'll see us win the trophy. For now, we're just building the muscle towards that.
Well, one of my producers attended Pope John, and he's a proud one. He's always making noise about it. Anyway, good to hear. So let's talk about the National Science and Math Quiz and what motivated Prudential Life to come on board to sponsor it this time around.
So when you understand what Prudential Life Insurance stands for, then you understand why we came around to support it. What we've been able to do over the years is to try and provide simple and accessible insurance for all people. And our purpose in trying to do all of this is to be partners for every life and protectors for every future. And this is also connected to our sustainability in that we are more focused on how we can provide real impact to the lives of people. And one of those key ways to be proactive in providing sustainable life for people is education. And so, National Science and Math Quiz falls under education. And it makes a lot of sense that even though it may be STEM-led, you get to realize that it also inspires people even in other fields of endeavor. And it gives people the opportunity to strive for what's best for them. And that is the most important reason why we came on board to support the National Science and Math Quiz.
This wouldn't be the first time. You've been on board before.
No.
How long have you done this? Why do you keep coming back?
We've done, this will be the 6th year since we've been supporting. I would say that Prudential is one of the most consistent supporter or partner of the National Science and Maths Quiz. And the consistency stems from what we believe as a company, that partnerships are very important. Having been around for over 176 years, we know the value that comes from good partnership. And that's why we've consistently supported the National Science and Maths Quiz.
Now, if you look at your sponsorship, how does it align with your brand, your vision, your mission, what you stand for?
Well, maybe I should take you a little back so that maybe it makes a lot of more sense, right? So even as far back as, you remember the Titanic, right? You know, people lost property, people lost life. Even at that time, Prudential was around to sort of give lives comforts during the World War and all of that. So we are noted all over the world for providing support for generations. So we're not even talking about today. We're talking about the past, the present, and also the future. And today, our business is really focused on health, wealth, and wellness or welfare for over 18 million people across 24 markets in Africa and Asia. And so, and in doing all of these things, we are sustainability-led business. And having been able to do that, we try to use this proactive means to support things of that nature. And that's how it actually aligns with our purpose for being partners for every life and protectors for every future. It means that we want to be here with you whilst you are here, and with you in the future, with your next generation, so that you find out that we are like a symbiotic part of your life, really. And that is the reason why we've been able to do this, really.
In terms of visibility, in terms of your reputation as, you know, an insurance group, how does partnering the NSMQ, bring you the boons you seek?
So, I'm sure, you would not see us do a lot of noise, but that is also part of how our approach. Our approach is not about being popular. Our approach is more about impact. So perhaps I would say that it's more about the impact. How is this touching lives? How is this affecting people? Of course, National Science and Maths Quiz does not just affect the life of the students, but then you're talking about their parents, their guardians. You're talking about the teachers. You're also talking about their siblings, and all this, the old students, all this big community, the kind of impact it brings to them. And for us, it is because of the impact that we are really doing there, not, a popularity contest of sorts, yeah.
Tell us about some of your products at Prudential Life Insurance Ghana.
Okay, so at Prudential, we are a purely life insurance company. And so our products border on individual life insurance products, and then we have group insurance products. We also have micro insurance products, which is supposed to promote inclusion and make sure that people who do not have. But I would like to just talk about, let's say, ProBody, for instance, which is a group insurance product. And what does is that it helps groups to be able to carry the heavier burden in terms of loss and things that are related. And looking at the economy now, group idea in supporting each other makes it much less for you as an individual. And then we also have the individual products, which includes ProWealth, which is one of the best insurance products in the country. I mean, everybody knows this. And it's people usually would say, if you know, you know, right? And what this product does is that it gives you the opportunity to decide that maybe in the next 10 years, 15 years, I want to be able to raise, let's say, 1 million Ghana cedis. You talk to us, a team will be able to support you to come up with a way to make that happen. A lot of people have been very, happy about such a product, for instance. And so maybe we can't talk about all these products within this session. Maybe I'll just have to give details of our contacts so that people can now call and have that kind of relevance.
And your website, others that they can
Exactly. Can I do that now?
Yes, you can do that.
Sure. So our website is www.prudential.com.gh. And then our number, this number is reliable. It's 030-220-8877. And then when you, on all our social media platforms, talking about Facebook, IG, X, LinkedIn, Threads, when you type ProLife GH, you should be able to find out. And then also we have a ProBot, so that is like allows you to have access to our WhatsApp bot, and that is 055-144-5522. So these are the ways for you, that you can actually reach us and get more detailed information about our products and services.
I see. And in terms of the demographics or segments your company is targeting with this alliance, what would you say before you give us your final words? Are you going to continue sponsoring the NSMQ? I know I'm putting you, backing you into a corner.
Yeah, you're backing us. We've done this for 6 years. That tells you that we are in it to win, right?
If you can do 6, then you can do 10, and then you can do 20.
But of course, based on our compliance and procedures, what we do is that we always have a team that will review some of these things, and then based on the team's recommendation, we are able to do that. The NSMQ team will tell you that whenever we approve some of these things, we sort of fast track their process because we don't want them to also stay hanging. And so that's what I can say to that.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred, for joining the conversation. Thank you for giving us all these details. Frederick Dodu-Techi is Head of Marketing and Communications with Prudential Life Insurance at Ghana. And once more, should I say my condolences? My condolences on John's exit.
Fare me well, because no one knows the future.
Yeah, and you see, knowing the future, my school is up next, and
you're on tenterhooks.
The group we are in, St. Augustine's College, Bishop Herman College, and so 2 colleges, and then St. Hubert Seminary.
Yeah, I think I'll support St. Hubert.
All Catholic schools.
Yeah, I like new names. I mean,
is it because Pope John is also?
No, it's not, because
just in there.
The kind of impact it creates. It lets us know that the kind of development that is coming into education is expanding beyond the popular schools.
Okay.
For us, that's what.
So we are heading there now. Of course, I am rooting for Bishop Herman College, and I hope Jacqueline Ansomahebwa and team is doing same. We're taking a breather. When we return, we take you straight into the action. Do stay. Aha, you know, the tune is a bit danceable, eh? My director is hating, hoping that Bishop Herman will lose. But if we win, it go over arm. Anyway, let me hand over now to Jacqueline Ansomahebwa, who's standing by. Jacqueline, I hope you're rooting for Bishop Herman College, my alma mater. Give us the latest. What's happening?
Hello there, good morning. We're coming to you live from Cape Coast, to be precise, the SGS Auditorium. And this is the last day of the quarterfinal stage, which of the 3 schools, or let me say which of the 9 schools remaining joins the remaining 6 who have already booked their spots in the semi-final stage. Just a quick recap. Now we have Tamasco, Koforidia SHTS, Keta SHTS, Osei-Tutu, Infanta Pim, and Presbyterian Boys already sailing through to the semi-final stage. Today we have 9 other schools who are trying to battle it out and move to the next stage of the competition. This morning we started with 2-time champions St. Augustine's College, Bishop Herman College, and St. Hubert Seminary SHS. But before we delve into any analysis, let me bring the schools here. I have students from Bishop Herman College. They should kindly join me here. I mean, the atmosphere is charged up right now, very, very charged up. And I know at the end of the day, everyone wants to make it to the ultimate stage. All right, well, that's Bishop Herman College with so much energy this morning, but let me speak to them to find out what we're expecting from their school. Now, your first contest this morning, what are we expecting from Bishop Herman?
Okay, so we Hurricanes, we have nothing much to say. All we want to tell the people out there is that they should sit, relax, watch. They should watch. Bishop Herman students, we don't talk much. In the end, we don't walk alone, we don't talk bunch. We don't talk bunch at all. See, that is all we get talk. We don't like make them no fear. We they can't give.
All right.
Everything we do.
What the composure?
You understand?
No, I don't understand, so explain for me. Come forward, come forward.
Oh.
You want to be there. Now, a message.
Literally, he's saying that people from Pando, we don't deserve disgrace. Literally, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Now, we want you to give a message to the 2-time champions, St. Augustine's and St. Hubert Seminary School. What is your message to them before we kickstart this contest?
Okay, I think proud to that, some of us had the opportunity to witness their contest, of which they had really good marks. The guys are good. But the message we are sending out to them is that the Bible says that the horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord. Now let me tell you this. You see, one shocking thing about today's contest is that all the 3 schools, they all have chaplain. They are all Catholic schools.
Yeah, it's a Roman school contest.
So this morning, we've all done mass, or we've all observed mass. Yes, but during our time of observing mass, the Lord gave us a word. He said, you go. I'm with you. Yes, so we have the God of wonders. So we are telling them that today we are winning. Yeah, we are winning. We are optimistic. We've studied assiduously. We trust our words. And we trust God. We'll deliver. Yeah.
Well, that is Bishop Herman College. And they say we should expect nothing but the best from. All right, thank you very much. And after the contest, we'll get to see you and all the best. Thank you guys very much. Now, thank you. Now, just as they are saying, it's a Roman school contest. All these 3 schools are all Catholic schools. But then I have also St. Hubert Seminary School coming all the way from Kumasi. Now, St. Hubert, guys, I'm pretty sure another person should kindly join me here. You heard what Bishop Herman is saying. You're all Catholic schools. What do you have to tell your brothers?
Oh, we aren't afraid of them. We are just here to have fun and to make the game more interesting, because we can make the game more interesting and also give them a tough competition.
Okay, but are you sailing through to the next stage? Are you moving to the semi-finals?
Oh, we can do it. We can do it because since we came from, since like this our second time. Yeah, from
the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and we have done it towards the semi-final before. It's not something we can do. We can do it.
There's nothing above you, eh?
No, please.
All right. Let me speak to one of your colleagues here too. What are we expecting from St. Hubert's Seminary SHS in this contest? You're meeting the two-time champions and, of course, your other brother school, which is also a Catholic school, Bishop Herman. They are saying that even though you're all Catholics, they believe that God is going to come through for them. What do you have to say?
Yeah, we are only hoping for the best. We know we can do it. The way they are talking means they are afraid of us. But we will not talk. We're just hoping for the best. That's all.
Okay, all right. Well, we've heard from students from St. Hubert's Seminary SHS. And guys, we wish you all the best. And after the contest, we'll speak to you again. All the best. Thank you very much. All right, now we have the two-time champions, St. Augustine's College. Students, kindly join me here. They are this morning. There's going to be a Catholic school derby where we would witness an intense showdown, an academic battle between these students right at the SGS auditorium. All right, they're coming in with some energy right now.
The college I tell my mama that you see me no more. If I die in Tako, I die for August school. Every Augustinian is fighting for freedom. I live my life for August school. The college hey mama. I tell my mama that you see me no more. If I die in Tako, I die for August school. Every Augustinian is fighting for freedom.
All right, we have the two-time champions, St. Augustine's College. And I mean, in the 1A stage, they were the second highest scorers, leaving the 1A stage with some 73 points. Well, guys, you're here to meet Bishop Herman and St. Hubert. It's a Roman school contest this morning. How are you guys feeling about it?
Oh, we are feeling great. Today we came here. We are not here to underestimate any school, but we are here to make a statement. And the line word is the statement. We are making a statement today. We are setting a history. This is a Catholic school's affair. And the best Catholic school is winning today. And we all know the best Catholic school is us. So we are winning today.
We are winning. What's making you so confident about this win this morning?
Oh, we trust our quiz boys. And we know they are prepared. So we are praying for them. They are winning today.
All right, I'll just go with the moral. Let me speak to one other student. Kindly join me here too. Now, what message do you have for your two other Roman schools that you're meeting, Bishop Herman and St. Hubert? What message? I need one message from you for the boys.
Oh, we are just telling them to watch out, but we are coming. Yeah, they should watch out for us. Yeah.
You know, no, they believe that even though you're all Catholic schools, God is going to come through for them more than He's going to come through for you all.
We are just going to tell them why we are the first Catholic school in West Africa, so they should wait till we are coming.
All right. Are you also expecting to move through? You guys were the second highest scoring school in the 1/8 stage. Are you guys expecting move here for me? Join me here. Are you expecting to also become one of the highest scorers in this let me say stage of the contest?
100%, 100%. We are here to annihilate everyone. Yeah. I strongly believe in our boys. The expectation from August has always been normal, and for this year, there's no exception. Perseverance conquers so indeed.
Are you guys clinching the trophy? Because the last time you won was in 2019. That's a long time. Are you guys clinching the third trophy?
Of course, of course. It's coming to the Greenland this year. It was so steady in Cape Coast. It's coming to Cape Coast. It's staying in Cape Coast. It's coming to the Greenland St. Augustine's College. Thank you.
All right, well, we've heard from the Augasco boys. Very certain of a win. Very certain of a third trophy this year. Thank you, guys. And we wish you all the best. After the contest, we'll definitely get to see you. All right, thank you. Absolute boys there. We're still here, but let me acknowledge our sponsors. Let me bring Stephen in for some quick analysis. But before that, let me acknowledge our sponsors. The 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Gull PLC and supported by Pepsodent, Jupe Money Transfer, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, Better Malt, ALS, Kivo, Bell Beverages, Flora Tissues, Coronation Insurance, Accra College of Medicine, University of Mines and Technology, Academic City University College, PMMC Jewelry, GTP, YFM, and the Girlmac Foundation. Now, the broadcast of the 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by NASCO, Vitamilk, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Bills Financial Technologies, DBS Roofing, Syntex Tanks, Family Health Medical College, Chabos Technologies, Action Secondary Technical, DPS Pipes, and Wakana. Well, I have Stephen here with me. Stephen, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited for today's contest. It's the last day of the quarterfinal stage. But this, you've been hearing the boys. It's a Roman, it's a Catholic school affair. Which of the schools are you tipping?
Based on experience, I'll tip St. Augustine's College to win this contest.
Is it because they are the second highest scorers in the 1A stage?
Oh, not at all. St. Hubert hasn't been seeded for some time now.
Yeah.
So I'm just tipping St. Augustine's based on the fact that they've been to the quarterfinals a number of times as compared to St. Hubert. So they know how to prepare for the quarterfinal stage. That's the only reason why I'm tipping St. Augustine's College to win this contest. But if you put their 1/8 performances side by side, realize that there wasn't any much difference.
Yeah.
St. Augustine's had 73 points, and St. Hubert's had 68. So that's like just 5. Yeah. If you go into the contest, at the problem the day part, both of them had 10 out of 10. They all did extremely well at the speed race, and the true of us, they all had 1 wrong. Riddles, they all answered 3 riddles. So there was not much difference. And remember that it was the same set of questions. So there was not much difference with respect to the performance at the 1A stage. So if you just put your hopes on the 73 that St. Augustine's had and tip them to win this contest, you may be making a very big mistake. Yeah. So I think St. Hubert stands a chance in this contest. That depends on how much they prepared for the stage. Yeah. Because like I always say, if it is your first time in a while getting to a particular stage of the competition, you tend to struggle. Because you've not been there in a while, so you don't know how to prepare well for that particular stage of the competition. So we've seen schools do well in the 1/8 and in the prelims. They get to the quarterfinals, and it's like they're not the schools that we saw at the 1/8 and the prelims. It happened to Adontine SHS.
1,000.